Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Hulk Busts on Discord.
Oh my god. This is Jeremy. My god in heaven, what have we done?
You better actually change your nickname on Discord.
I'm doing it.
We don't accept false advertising.
I know
here.
we don't. I'm doing
Do
it
it right now.
I'm doing
I'm not going to respond to you until you do.
I gotta find out how to do it again. I've done it before.
Don't worry, give me a second, I'll walk you through
Right-click
it.
your own name. Yeah, Jeremy took a class online on how to do it. He had to learn.
For a simple 7-day course, or 5 hours a day.
$99.95,
Yeah.
3 easy payments. I can teach you how to change your nickname on Discord.
Okay,
I wouldn't honestly put it past you doing that.
Oh, I
Parker,
would
you
never
actually
pay for
Googling
that.
it? What are you doing?
I'm doing it on my phone because I know how to do it there easily.
Okay.
Are you Googling
All
it?
right. Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
Quick announcements. As always, links in the show notes. My 2 new printers I ordered to replace the printers I returned to the factory should be here on Friday. So I'm targeting starting up the Etsy store again next week. We'll see how it goes. I think that's it for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, Parker, what's the news? Tell me the news.
We have news. We have news.
Hey,
News!
Yes.
News!
So news today is all about them new mutants. So we got a couple different things going on with them. We've got some tactics cards, some of the last ones that come in the Warlock Sunspot bundle. Most of them revolve around New Mutants specifically, but one of them also needs a Warlock. No, never mind. One of them is just a Warlock card. But the first one is called Practice Round. It's a reactive card. Have you guys read it? Do you guys know what it does?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm checking.
It's an interesting one. Jeremy, I think you might like this, actually. It's free, reactive, a New Mutants card, but anybody can play it, so just as long as you're playing the New Mutants at all. If your result contained no crits, you can play it. You can re-roll any number of dice, including skulls.
This is an interesting restriction because I actually like this because it means you didn't crit, right? Because there's no crits there.
Yeah.
And it responds to rolling the dice, not modifying the dice, so you can't play it after you've done other mods.
Mm-hmm.
So it restricts it to not being an explosive roll already, because let's say you get a roll like Doctor Strange is famous for this. Oh, like I got 2 crits and nothing else. I'll
Right.
just re-roll the 7.
Right.
Oh, look, I got 5. And you're like, well, that's annoying.
Yeah.
So it doesn't allow you to do that, but it also helps you when you roll bad. Because if you, I crapped out, whatever. It's like, oh, I've got this card. So it's got an interesting restriction that's also a benefit. And so or at least is inclined towards one specific type of roll.
Another cool thing is it says rolls dice. So it could be anything.
Mhm.
An attack roll, a block roll, a defense roll, an interact roll. Yeah. Anytime you ever roll dice. So if you're rolling like a counter strike or something and you're like, I want to re-roll this counter strike, you can if you don't roll any crits into it.
Is Psychic Shockwave Black Order only?
Psychic Shockwave is what?
The Super Giant and Ebony Maw card?
I'm
checking.
I
don't think it is. It is not. It's unaffiliated. But it's well-laid plans for them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a card that'll make me angry twice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Well, you fail the first time, so you re-roll it, and then you fail the second time.
No.
And then I stare at it.
The important part, much like Books of Truth, it only works for your dice, not their dice too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imagine it's not going to be super useful on defense unless you're playing it on, let's say, for example, playing on Amazing Spider-Man. You're like, oh, look, I hit 4 skulls on my defense roll. It's like, well, by doing this, I'm going to get 4 new dice and then get to re-roll them. That's going to be massively important.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I like it that I like that it's wide open, but also like you said, it doesn't allow for big explosive things. It really is just for a one-shot dice redo on any character. It doesn't have to be a New Mutant. Any dice roll doesn't have to be a specific one.
Yeah, I think it's a good card, but you're going to run into the problem of because they have a tactics card leadership, don't they?
Yeah.
So you're basically 3 cards down before you even look at character cards, and you this is on the list after character cards, probably.
Yeah, they have a really good Tactics card leadership, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I like the card. I don't know how much play it's going to see, but I like cards like this.
Yeah. If you're ever looking at your New Mutants list and you could consider Recalibration Matrix, I think you just wouldn't consider this one instead.
Oh yeah,
and you just
unless you're
window slam it.
Yeah, unless you're playing for a specific thing. Like I'm playing Recal just to break up combo dice.
Yeah,
it's like, but I don't see that very often.
Our next text card is Self Help. It's a Warlock card. Jeremy, do you know what it does?
No.
It's interesting. It's a reactive card. I know you love reactive cards, so
it's his favorite, specifically defensive.
Yeah,
reactive cards.
Well, I do like this one because it doesn't undo damage. It just does cool things. But basically, if you attack Warlock and he's dealt damage, he can spend 2 and play the card. The attacking enemy and characters within 2 of the enemy gain poison, and then he, Warlock that is, gains a power for every character within 3 of him that is currently poisoned. So the idea is basically Warlock gains a bunch of power for poison guys, and you do a little poison bomb on somebody who attacks Warlock. Jeremy, did you ever want to poison everyone?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't dug into the New Mutants very much. Do they care if people are poisoned?
No.
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 This
in
card
fact,
seems bad.
I'm like, that's going to be one of your 10? Are you serious?
Yeah, there's no way this sees play unless it... No, see, the exception is obviously if there's a reason poisoned is relevant. Like if it was it like Terragenesis where you can like make somebody with poison do something or like do extra damage or something. I could see it being useful. But just poison, this seems pretty irrelevant.
So Warlock himself has the same effect that Omega Red does. He can spend 2 to make poison characters around him take 2. It's like a 2. It's a range 2 damage bomb around him. So he has exactly Omega Red's ability. It does 2 damage to himself as well.
I wonder if you could like walk up and punch what's his name, Iceman, and then trigger Absolute Cold and like take a damage, and then you're just like surprised, and you just like play the card and the death factor everybody.
It's specifically a damage from an attack, not an effect.
That's an effect.
No. If you're dealt damage by an enemy attack.
Oh, yeah, I just misread it. That's my bad. Yeah, this card doesn't seem good. No. I mean, the card is not good. I think the card is bad. There are some times that you need to apply poison so desperately that this card can have value, but the card in a vacuum, it seems really bad.
If you were... It feels like you're doubling down on exactly his transmode virus infection power, because he doesn't have the ability to poison without his basic attack. So that's it. Like you're getting more.
Is he a cyborg?
No, he's a techno-organic being. He's made of the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. God, he looks so weird.
Yeah, he is. He's an alien functionally.
Mm-hmm. He reminds me of Freakazoid.
That's funny. That's funny. You're not far off. Like it is. His character is so different than that character. That's why I laughed immediately, because I actually have a lot of Warlock comics, and he has a self-title actually that's really cool. I'll do a comic corner on it one day because I love it. But yeah, but he is. He's just, that character is so different than that character. However, the look is similar. I'm with you.
Okay.
So those are 2 tactics cards. The last thing we found out is we have the affiliation roster for the New Mutants.
I bet you there's like 20 people on it.
No.
Are you sure?
Cut that in half and then subtract
25, right?
7. Jeremy, do you know all the amazing characters in the New Mutants?
No, I do not.
Now you know of the New Mutants, right? Because you read some of the early X-Force stuff, right?
I also have most of the New Mutant comics.
Okay,
yes.
So you tell me who you think should be in the Mutants, and I'll disappoint you.
Oh.
I'm not looking at the list, and I'm not.
I know you're not.
How about
I'm telling you.
How about
yeah?
Why don't you tell me?
Okay.
Tell me a model that I think should be, and I'll tell you
okay.
if it is. Okay.
Okay. You're asking me if I think a model should be, and then we'll find out if he actually is. Is that what you're
Yes.
thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Here, I'll give you. It'll start easy. Do you think Cable should be in the New Mutants?
Yes.
Okay, he is. Right.
Oh, okay. Good.
That's good. Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
good.
Hey, man, we're starting off hot.
Yeah, we're starting off simple. I want to ease into it. Do you think that Shadowcat should be in the New Mutants?
No.
Exactly, right? It makes perfect sense. She is.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Oh, Shadowcat. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you said Black Cat for a second. I was like, wait, what?
Also-
I almost literally threw
Also
my keyboard
hard
across
no.
the room.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, they're good friends, I guess. I don't. Whatever.
That's exactly
They're
I
the
mean,
what it
that's-
goodest
is.
of friends.
Yeah, it's like, sure, I guess. I don't know why. Do you think that Iceman should be in the New Mutants?
No.
Good, he's not. You're
Okay.
doing well so far.
Okay.
Do you think that Magic should be in the New Mutants?
God, I don't see magic in. No. No.
She is their leader.
Not only,
No.
not only is she in,
Is this a
she's-
DC version of
she's
New
the
Mutants I don't know
best-
about?
Okay.
It's like Watchmen New Mutants.
Okay. I'll hit you with the two last ones that I
Okay.
think are really strange. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Don't you think that Emma Frost should be in the New Mutants?
No.
Well, she is.
Hellfire Mutants.
What the
Okay.
fuck?
Okay, now here's the last one that makes perfect sense. Do you think that Wolverine should be in the New Mutants?
Never.
Okay, you're right. He's not.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Do you think that Wolverine's clone should be in the New
Ooh.
Mutants?
No.
Yikes.
She is. X-23 is in the New Mutants.
Is there a new
So I've
version
got
of New
a-
Mutants? Like it actually ended.
Is this based
Like,
on the TV show, or
What is it?
I
I didn't
don't.
see the TV show. I just know the magic's in it.
All I know is that from the comic books, the New Mutants are traditionally like Warlock, Sunspot, Magma, Magic, Cannonball, Armor. These are some characters that don't exist in the game yet, but I don't remember X-23 ever being affiliated with them. Emma Frost, I guess she was one of the she was a teacher
It's like
and
a
a
mentor.
caretaker of younger mutants, but they weren't the New Mutants, although I
No.
think they're affiliated with them. Cable, the original New Mutant team, was kind of one of Cable's teams. He trained them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
Cable
don't
showed
understand
up
why
like halfway
Shadowcat's
through
in
New
it.
Mutants. Like it was like halfway through.
I have a question for you guys. Can you name the affiliations without looking that have fewer affiliated models than the New Mutants? This is gonna be a fun segment.
Sentinels.
Sentinels, yeah, I was about to say Sentinels.
There's one.
Uh,
Say stop when you think you've hit the line.
Stop.
Winter Guard.
Winter Guard does not have less.
Oh, they have the same now, probably.
They have the same. So Parker got the tie.
Okay.
You get an extra credit point for that.
Okay.
Is that it? Jeremy already said stop.
No,
I
Dark
think it's
Dimension.
stop.
Dark Dimension has fewer. That's
Oh
correct.
shit. Okay, got me on that one. That's always a trick question.
Or is everyone affiliated with Dark Dimension?
Yeah. Or...
That's how I see it.
And then because you're obviously going to get it, and Hellfire Club is the other.
yeah.
So there's one real affiliation that has fewer, and it's Sentinels, and the only one tied is Winter Guard. So I think that tells you what they think of New Mutants. Is they're meant to be, which is weird to me because they didn't stay historically accurate to them. Because if you're going to make a joke affiliation that's not joke, but a non-competitive affiliation that's not meant to challenge the big affiliations. Winter Guard's a perfect example. They were never really meant to be a mainstream affiliation. They even said that when they came out. It's hey guys, this is just here for the people that really like the aesthetic. We're releasing them. New Mutants, I think, then fits in that category, but then they weren't true to the original content of who's in the faction. So that just seems really odd to me. They split the difference.
They also decided to release just two models, and only one of them is when you think New Mutants, you think maybe Cable, but it's Magic, Warlock, Sunspot, Magma. Was it Proudstar? Is that that's the guy? But
Yeah.
you think of these very iconic New Mutants, Proudstar was a New Mutant, I think, too. But like anyway, you think of these, and they're just not in the game yet. So they could have introduced 4 of them, and then it would have felt like fine.
Yeah.
But
So, based on my observations of what they've done before, the reason they usually release off-brand stuff that you didn't expect to come out, and it's like doesn't make sense at the time, it's because it was a dual release. And a perfect example of this is like Sin and Viper. When Sin and Viper came out, they're like, why the hell did you release these? This is the last thing we needed. And then like 8 months to a year later, Hydra gets released. And it wouldn't have made sense to release 6 boxes of Hydra minis. And so they kind of sprinkled it in throughout the previous year. And so if these characters are in another affiliation that's mutant themed, this could be a double release where it's like they're getting it out of the way for the next thing. And so I could see that. But yeah, it seems odd to me. Since you guys both know way more about New Mutants than I do, I'm gonna go grab some more water real quick. I'll be right back. But keep talking about your hatred of history or whatever.
It just, I love the modern New Mutants stuff, and Magic is one of the team captains for them, and she's awesome. Like I love everything about Magic. This game, she's just kind of a punk bitch, but in the comics, she's awesome. But I did not understand Emma Frost, Shadowcat, or X-23. Like, those ones just totally blew my mind.
Is it just because they're, like, young? Is that the thing? Like, New Mutants equal young girl? Like, I don't...
Yeah. Emma Frost,
that...
I think Emma Frost was, like, she was a teacher, and she had some students that died, but I can't remember if they were affiliated with the New Mutants or not, like they knew each other or something. I just remember there being a story about how she lost some students and she's like really traumatized by that. But I don't know if she was teaching New Mutants. Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, Shadowcat, just young girl, like you said. X-23, just young girl. I don't like. But also Honey Badger, not a New Mutant, because I guess that would just be weird.
They're not going to put that combo in there. Woo.
Yeah, that would just be strange.
Don't go crazy.
Yeah, whoa. Let's not go too far. Yeah. We could have child clones, but not child soldiers. That's not cool.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's, yeah.
Which it's actually kind of strange because New Mutants became X-Force. So there's both affiliation. It's just kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. But X-Force is 100% like the tactical version, right? Or like the Domino, Deadpool, Wolverine, like where they were like, we're going to go kill things. We're going to take out, threats before they arrive. Psylocke, that's like the modern Black Ops Wetworks X-Men, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little from a narrative standpoint, it's bizarre. But they gave them one of the best tactics card leaderships ever. It's just so dumb.
Remind me what that is. I don't remember what it is.
So the new tactics card leadership says, and let me double check. I'm gonna pull it up so I don't make a mistake. But it has an amazing reactive movement is like at the core of it. And so you're gonna see a lot of people playing New Mutants with this card when this card drops. So tomorrow's soldier, New Mutants, yeah. So, cry for help. If an allied character is targeted by an enemy attack, another allied character within 3 can spend 1 power. After the attack is over, place the character that spent power within 1 of the targeted character. So, one of your guys gets attacked. Somebody else, a friendly, within 3 can spend 1 power. After the attack is resolved, place that character that spent within 1. It's a giant hop. It's a range 3 plus base plus range 1 hop to somebody who is targeted by an attack.
Okay.
That is really insane. Good. Yeah, it's insane movement, and it all happens during their turn, so they're going to be constantly trying to imagine what's going on. Like anything that makes you think twice about what you're doing is so good, right? I think this leadership is one of the best competitive leaderships we've ever seen because of specifically what it does to game states and really smart players. It's going to be
Black Dwarf finally has a home.
Yeah, like he would be amazing as a New Mutant. Yeah, he would be.
I thought this was restricted to affiliated models.
No, it's allied character.
Why was freaking Josh and Zach so upset then? I don't understand. They just wanted it for a free affiliated model? That's weird. They were talking about playing it with Magneto because they thought the positioning ability on Magneto would be worth it. But I don't think it's enough to fix Magneto. But
I mean, anybody who doesn't move themselves well would like it, but
It's obviously nice, but I mean,
Yeah.
playing Magneto out of affiliation means you're losing magnetic refraction, which
Right.
is a big part of what his value is in Brotherhood. So
also he loves having priority, and a lot of the New Mutants are small. Like, it'd be hard. It's possible.
yeah, exactly. Like it's keeping prio, and so maybe that's what they cared about him being affiliated so much, because you
Yeah.
could play tall.
Yeah.
But if he's not affiliated, then you have to play like 3 small models with him.
Mhm.
Because you could do like Hulk, Mags, and Magic, for example, and have a 3 tall affiliated list. And then Hulk and Mags are just hopping all over the place.
But Black Dwarf is amazing. If he's got 3 power, if you get attacked once, he's now in your face, taking the next attack, and then he's in your face, right, with his crazy number of dice. And
Well, I
health.
mean, another really cute one is Mysterio with Grand Illusion up.
Yeah.
He just teleports all over the place.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, you targeted me. Yeah, surprise!
Yeah.
Mysterio's here, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Jeremy, doesn't sound fun?
Nope.
Here's a funny one. What if you did it on Omega Red? So then Omega Red comes, that guy's activation ends, and then you're poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Surprise!
Just a bunch of weird bullshit you can do.
Oh, you don't play still after, so Mysterio wouldn't be nearly as good.
No, yeah, I don't. Mysterio wouldn't be as good, but I think Omega Red would be adorable.
I like Black Dwarf to put you within the range to be able to hit things. You can't just get
Yeah.
away from him as long as he's within 3.
Ghost Rider would be fun because his judgment triggers after the attack is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
So you could place, then you'd be within 3 of the target, or of the attacker, and they didn't attack you.
Yeah.
Then you get to do the Wicked Judgment at them.
Right, and if they did damage with the attack, then
You also get a power.
you actually have to do this when the character is targeted by the enemy attack, which I think is interesting.
The leadership? Yeah.
Yeah,
You wouldn't get to see the roll first.
but you would
could
get the
just do
power
it.
back after you did it. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they damage, you get the power back.
Right.
And if you don't spend, you're not losing any power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ghost Rider, and because you're playing a bunch of small people, Ghost Rider's good with that. I think Ghost Rider might be a popular drop-in.
Another funny one would be like Loki 1 or Loki 2, but Loki 1 I think would be hilarious because then all of a sudden his bubble moves on top of you and your shit costs 1 more. Like,
Yeah.
it would.
What people have talked about is also just using it for defense. Like, oh, you're going to attack my guy up here, and I'm going to mess up your later activation where you were going to charge this guy.
Mhm.
Or and so like, my guy that just took damage is going to get out. Or I'm going to move in a bodyguard for the second attack.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. It's a very strong leadership.
Yeah. But it doesn't. One of the things I think is going to be interesting about it, and I'll be excited to see. I think people who are interested in spending a lot of time with it are really, really going to like it. But it's not a plug and play. It's not like Invaders, where it's just more rerolls with guy who rerolls, and it's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I think people might bounce off of the learning curve, just like not be willing to climb it. But
yeah, but I mean, a lot of leaderships like that, like Inhumans and stuff.
Right.
Like, there's all kinds of leaderships that are much better with specific models.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's our New Mutant news.
Cool. Done with news. Alrighty. Are you guys excited to play New Mutants?
Yes? Question mark. It will be interesting. There is one reason, actually. I'll say this. I am excited for one reason. I don't really care to play Sunspot and Warlock that much. Like, neither of them are super exciting to me. So I like that I can just immediately start playing it with Magic, because I do like Magic, and so I can just.
Do like Magic.
If they would have tied this card to Sunspot or Warlock, it would have made me kind of upset because I wouldn't even, I would feel like I wanted to paint the models and, do all that stuff before I played it. So I can actually just immediately start playing New Mutants as soon as I open the box, which is kind of refreshing. But that's, I actually started to put together a Captain America 2 list with Invaders the other day, just so I wouldn't have to paint Namor. I could just play I could play Invaders and not have to paint Namor. But man, that guy is bad. I couldn't think of a way he's good, but I might still try to do it.
He's just a subpar 4, right? Like,
yeah.
There's worse models.
Right. He's really cool if he starts the turn with like 6 power, but so many characters are great when they start the turn with 6 power. So
yeah. Alrighty. Moving into currently playing, I think we have something very important to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be me and Jeremy's game from Monday.
You go for it.
Jeremy, I had fun in our game. Did you have fun?
Yes, it was fun.
wasn't it nice playing 2019 MCP again?
It really was.
What did you guys agree to play old rules?
No, we just both showed up with stompy lists, and we flipped a fun mission. We did Intrusion's alien ship, so it was super fighty, but also like weird shit kept happening because it's both of the scenario elements have die rolls involved. And so, like, randomly people would take a bunch of damage from alien ship, or you'd fail like 2 of the intrusion portal places, and you're like, oh no, this third got really weird. And so it was, let's see, I played Juggernaut, Magneto, Toad, Apex, and Jeremy played, let me recall, definitely Hulk,
Daredevil.
Oh yeah, Daredevil, Shang-Chi, and who was the other one? Luke Cage. So, pretty comparable list. We were both 4 wide. I won the roll to go first, which was massive. It's why I
Which means you won.
I picked. Yeah, it was pretty brutal because Juggernaut's a safe grab in that scenario, which is pretty big. And then also having Toad really denied his ability to punish me on the first turn, because Toad's activating third and picking up an extract while out of attack range of most people. And so he basically just lost the early scenario, so he had to come into me pretty hard. And obviously Mags with Prio is pretty good at getting come into. And so, but Jeremy played it pretty well. We got to break every single piece of terrain on the board.
Turn 6, yeah.
Including the ones that Magneto summoned. There was 0 terrain touching the board at the end of the game.
You're not being facetious. It was actually 0.
No, there was literally 0 pieces of terrain, not even a lamppost.
Like you literally cleaned up the board. You didn't even need to clean it.
100% broken. Yeah,
45 points of terrain or so gone.
Yeah, because I summoned at least 4 constructs, and every single piece was broken. And our normal boards have 12, 20, 24, 28 pieces, and so I put another 8 down. Yeah, so it had been 36 pieces of size worth of terrain was broken. And I got almost all of that into power. I think I only missed like 6 points of power on that. End of the game, really it just came down to he took 2 martial artists into Magneto, hoping that I was going to play a different list. And I didn't expect him to play the martial artists, so it was pretty funny. My Apex was all but worthless except for the pounce, because he just couldn't hurt people. Except for the pounce. He did really good with the pouncing.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just fun. It's like neither of us were playing Runaway. Both of us wanted to fight, but we were also making like intricate decisions on where to go when. Like it was a lot of important activations, but we both had agency over the game. It was just fun.
At the end of the game, the real thing that stood out is neither of us had any stealers. So to change the way the game was going, someone had to die, which actually makes the game the way it used to be. I hate to say it that way, but it really was.
I haven't played in a game with a stealer other than Namor in a while. And Namor, I don't really count him as a stealer. He's more of just like, has that answer. If he fails to kill you, it doesn't matter because he still gets your objective. But yeah, I really hate the way stealing has turned the game into what the strategies that get played anyway. It's just really boring.
See, that was actually one of the things I want to talk about.
Walk forward, pull lever, walk backwards, and you're like, wow, how interesting.
And that's actually really funny that you guys mentioned that, because
I think stealing
I think stealing's lost a lot of traction recently, but maybe I'm wrong.
think our meta is not playing stealers right now, and that might be true of a lot of places, but I think the reason for that is people are so desperate for anything else. Like we lived in the Hellfire Club Web Warriors meta for so long that we just want to play other things. And Kansas City's always had kind of an oddball meta because we just tend to play more fighty than most people. And so just recently, like the last 2 months or so, there's been a really heavy non-stealer play. And now it's just everything is these Zoomers that we've been seeing coming out, the long mediums.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just fun because we just kind of had a back and forth grinded out match. That was really fun.
You had a Toad that was nigh invincible. That was pretty cool.
I did have it. Was he nigh invincible?
You blocked. Remember, I threw a size 3 at you.
There was the one activation that just. Well, I mean, you had that too, but yeah, there was the one activation. He just did not want to take damage.
I waited forever to get you in a spot where I could do enough damage. I thought, and just be done with you.
What did you throw? You threw a size 2 into me. And I blocked it completely. and then you punched me for 7 dice, and I think I only took 1 or 2 damage.
I punched you with 8 dice.
Then,
remember, I had to spend.
Oh yeah, you had 8 dice. Yeah,
I
so
did a
punched me with 8,
spender.
he Hulk smashed for 1 extra attack dice because he wanted to kill Toad so badly. And
I
then
needed
he
to,
only
or
did
you
like
leave.
he only did like 1 or 2 damage to him, and so he slipperies away, and I just brain farted. We were playing intrusions and
That
walked
was
right
funny.
next to the other intrusion. He teleports through and kills me, and I'm like, oh damn it! That's the dumbest move I made in a while. Because I just, in my head, we had done the math, like, oh yeah, you can't get me. And he had like exactly one power left. And so he used it to go through the portal. I was like,
It's just like Parker says, people don't understand that the table...
Yeah, it's too complex. I just can't wrap my brain around it. He could be in 3 places at once.
Yeah.
We made that joke like 8 times during the game. It was the only time we actually forgot.
I can be anywhere.
How could you possibly anticipate it? It's not possible.
Right? It's impossible. It's unknowable. There was a lot of really, really intricate activations where like order of everything really mattered. It was a lot of fun. I wish more games were like that. All right, I guess moving on to the tournament. We had LVO point series over the weekend. Parker was challenged primarily by me, but mostly by the group. If anybody remembers his Parker episode 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was, where Parker built lists on the cast, or showed his built lists on the cast. We may have ridiculed him slightly for his Hulkbuster list, mostly due to the false advertising of telling humans to play that garbage. Like that was mostly the problem. But I just want to say, I just want the timeline to be understood by everyone, the sacred timeline of what happened. Parker built this list in private and brought it to the cast, and he said, "Guys, check out this cool list I built." And we said, "Parker, that list is dog shit. There's no way you can win with it. Why would you tell people to play that?" And he said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "Probably you're right." So then a week or so later, he comes back and goes, "So check it out. I made some small tweaks to the list. Instead of it being Hulkbuster, Luke Cage, War Machine, Black Widow, hear me out. What if it's Hulkbuster, King T'Challa, Sam, and like something else?" I was like, that's not even remotely similar. That's not even the same list at all. And he's like, "No, it's the same list. It counts. I'm going to play this." I'm like, that's not what we talked about.
And so you told me takesy back.
So
he
tried to completely retcon the list. And I was like, "Nope, you can play that new list if you want, but it has nothing to do with the old list. Don't tell people it's the same list." Okay. And so the challenge was still, he was going to be Parker the Liar permanently until he won a game with that Hulkbuster list.
So I played against Aaron twice, once with the new list, specifically with those new models, and it was instantly terrible. I was like, well, we've learned this. So I threw that out and went back with the old list. That's just
karma. Like, karma was not going to let you win that game.
And so we played one practice game with Aaron, and I won it actually with the original list. And I was like, okay, then. The answer is Luke Cage and Supergiant. That's
play 4-point models. It's the only way. Just put them on the table.
And so we went to the tournament, and I won't go through every game, but first round I played against Brandon.
Let's just be honest though. You didn't play the Hulkbuster list.
No, I did.
You didn't.
Is that
Sorry, who was your leader?
Okay.
Sam Wilson in that game.
So this is what I did. I had planned on, if I had enough points, I put down Hulkbuster and Sam, and if I look across at my opponent and they're not doing any throws at all, I pick Sam. That's the idea.
So you're saying he had 0 throws in his list?
He had 0 throws except Shang-Chi.
Sounds like not 0 throws.
Shang-Chi had the reactive throw, and so I decided that it was probably worth it, not because you don't have to trigger the reactive throw, and I never did, so it's all not. Right. So
that's a fair point. I'm gonna open it up to the quorum. We'll see what they think. Jeremy, if we vote unanimously that Parker was okay doing that, then it counts. What do you think?
So, what was the list called?
I believe it was called Sam Wilson, The Avengers.
The list name was called Real Steel, and it was all the models that had armor.
Yikes.
Okay,
but it did not have a Hugh Jackman character in it, which was pointed out to me at the tournament, which made me upset.
Yeah, I pointed out, I was like, why is it Wolverine in your list? It's like, why would he be in the list? It's like, he's in Real Steel. And you're like, what do you mean? It's like, Hugh Jackman is the main character in Real Steel. And he's like, God damn it. How did I forget?
I didn't connect that.
Suck.
I didn't Kevin Bacon it. I should have been like 5 degrees, right? I didn't do that. But, so I had Hulkbuster on the table, but he was not the leader that game.
We also would have accepted Ultra. Either would have been fine.
Hulkbuster was played. I will count it.
Okay.
I don't count it. It wasn't his leader. That doesn't count.
Was that
So-
the idea?
Zero count.
Is that what you talked about? The whole was that
Yeah,
the
he
idea?
didn't even
You're
play
like, I'm
him
going
as
to
the
use
leader.
Hulkbuster
I
as
said
the
I didn't
leader.
want to take damage from
Yeah.
throws, but I had
played
an alternate
Hulkbuster
leadership.
with Sam. That's not impressive.
I played Hulkbuster that round against Brandon. One thing was really funny that I thought was adorable. In our conversation when I was trying desperately to defend this trash pile I made, Brandon asked, "Yeah, but what if you just get attacked by Namor when your Hulkbuster has extracts and he just makes you drop all your shit?" And
Yeah.
so
It doesn't matter that he can't kill you because he just takes your shit and leaves.
right, and
Yeah.
so on round 2, his very first activation, Namor spins because I did a few damage to him on turn 1. Namor spins to do the spinner, and he rolls I think he rolled 8 hits or something, and I had already sacrificed it to Supergiant. So Supergiant took 1, and he goes,
Yeah. But then,
Oh.
if she had an extract, she would have had to drop it twice.
Dropped it twice. She
Dropped
didn't
it
have
twice.
any, but she would have dropped it twice. So yeah, he was the game really went downhill for him. It was also pretty high scoring. It was scoundrels, and so I had plenty of things to score every turn. So I ended up winning that one on points. But the highlight was I actually answered the one question Brandon had: is what happens when you just get attacked by Namor? Sacrifice.
Oh yeah, I mean when you you have sacrifice set up and your opponent doesn't realize it, then that's great.
Yep.
And then obviously when your opponent just has bad luck, that also sucks for him.
Trust the rogue to palm the dagger. That was that one.
Yeah.
So my second round was against Josh, who has been loving Loki, and I've just been loving Loki because Loki is so much fun to play. Jesus Christ, I hate playing against that fucking model so much. So Aaron, my practice games against Aaron were also Loki games, and
Aaron's been playing Loki,
and I don't think I've ever been so miserable winning a game than I was winning that second game against Loki, because he was just making me take 1 damage all the time, and every time I wanted to kill Loki, it just didn't, because I would roll 2 skulls with my attack roll, and it was just making me
don't try and kill Loki.
Yeah, it was just making me so mad. So this game,
it's like trying to kill CGR. It's the worst target because you never know when he'll just become invincible.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, I guess I lose.
Yep.
Kill everyone else.
So Josh did the smart thing because he saw me playing Hulkbuster, and so he decided to leave Big Thor at home, because Big Thor feels a lot weaker when you can't do all of his throws and stuff on him. But because he left Big Thor at home, he didn't really have a lot of damage otherwise. We were playing Paranoia Intrusion, so I was able to, even though it was Intrusions, I was able to score enough on the Reds, and he just couldn't kill things quick enough. My favorite moment came, I built the list, and I remember saying this in the cast. I built it because I was like, I hate taking 1 damage from throws. I hate when I get bonked into things and take 1 damage.
Yeah.
On the opening turn of the game, War Machine, who is by himself, sitting on a point with an extract, so he's worth 2 victory points, his Mighty Thor throws her hammer at War Machine, cranks the damage roll, does 4, knocks him into the building right behind him, and does no damage because I'm playing Hulkbuster. Ta-da! And he scores 2. And that was the highlight of that game. It was like
the highlight of the game was you didn't take a collision.
I didn't take a collision damage because that was the thing.
Man, you are easy to please.
Because I fucking hate taking collision damage. And so that was probably the highlight of that game. It was a good game. Josh,
please tell me you didn't play Brace in your 10.
I don't play Brace.
Okay, good. I just realized, wait a second.
I don't play Brace. I don't play Brace.
You're just like the guy in the corner. I play Indomitable and Brace, and Hulkbuster is my leader. I play all the DR people.
No, I don't play Brace or Indomitable. But it was funny is people kept throwing. People kept throwing.
Stop the throws.
People kept throwing Hulkbuster into models, and I would just take 1 damage, and they're like, God, son of a bitch. They're so mad that I'm not taking damage when they're throwing my Hulkbuster into them. So then I go to round 3. So this is final round against Perrin, who just came off the coolest win ever, where he beat
hottest win ever.
That was
definitely the hottest win.
That thing was crazy.
That was the most Parker dice I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
I just need Luke Cage, or no, who was it?
Taskmaster.
It was Taskmaster.
He needed Taskmaster
to one-shot Luke Cage and Loki.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah,
easy mode.
Yeah.
What the fuck? He had also, what was it? He attacked Mighty Thor earlier in the game and dealt 6 on a single attack.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, dude. You need to play more often.
Yeah. So I played into Perrin, and it was Hammers and Gamma Wave, which he's excited to see because he's playing Cabal and with New Red Skull. And on turn 1, I use my Hulkbuster to pick up 2 hammers, and take a damage at the end of my turn because I'm over the side of the Gamma. He doesn't even try to go for Hulkbuster. He's just flying down the middle, and all my stuff is kind of hiding on my back point. And on turn 2, I play Avengers Assemble to move Hulkbuster close enough to start doing his bullshit. And he just ate everything. Like, Hulkbuster just ruined everything.
Hulkbuster has those games. It's just rare because he doesn't have dice mods. Like,
Right.
he has big attacks, though.
Yeah.
I love Meteor Punch. Meteor Punch is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is. Other big stars in that game were my Crimson Dynamo. At one point, because he bunched everything up on the middle point to get ready to kill me, Crimson Dynamo just got to dual laser 4 models, and I just cranked some damage rolls that I wasn't, just a whole bunch of 5 dice attacks. Just 2 or 3 of them were huge. And so with that really good Crimson Dynamo turn and Hulkbuster just never letting me down, the whole tournament really, but right then in that game too, I was able to remove his models. He had the opportunity because he had the oh no, I'm just blanking on the tactics card that rerolls your dice. Cabal, when you target a model.
Oh,
Dark Rain.
Dark Rain, yeah. So he Dark Rained on turn 3. He's like, I gotta kill Hulkbuster, so here's Dark Rain on Hulkbuster. He attacked with Zemo and did, I think, 2 damage with his first attack, and didn't have enough to do another. Like, he couldn't do all the rerolls the second attack, ended up doing like 1 damage. And then Hulkbuster right then just deleted his Red Skull and Ultron off the board that is gone. And so he had no more like Dark Rain to do. And that was pretty much the game. So I won that game as well. So I won the tournament with the shitty list, and so
You won 2 games with it.
I won 3
First
games.
game doesn't
I won
count.
3
First
games
game-
with it, but 1 was a practice game.
No, it doesn't count. You won 2. You won 100% of your games with that list. I'll
Yeah,
give you that.
That's true.
Good job.
I think what it's funny, completely unrelated. I was watching. Every once in a while, I go on like gigs with actors interviews, and I was watching this one with Willem Dafoe of all people, and they were talking about how he's always kind of picked like wacky roles, like he's not scared of picking really strange stuff, and he said that he has this really interesting idea that some other actors struggle with him sometimes, because he will just purposely like pick things that he thinks will fail. It's kind of weird and bizarre. He's like, but I purposely do it sometimes, is what he's talking about. And I don't do that. Like, I always go like, this won't work. Like, this won't work. This won't work. I'm not even going to bother a try because it's just worse than something else like I spend my time on. And I never do that. But this time, you guys challenged me, and so I did. It was not easy to play this list. There were so many other things that I wanted to try that I think
it's
better.
actually, in the meta that has existed over the last 2 years, I think this might be the best time to play what you were playing.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of beefy guys right now. There's a decent amount of throwing, but particularly this is the lowest scenario presence we've seen in the last 2 years.
Yes.
And it's just like that little bubble we're on right now because all the new stuff that just came out, none of it is particularly scenario based.
Mm-hmm.
And also people are exploring the new meta with all the new recent cards getting cycled.
Right.
And so, I think this was definitely the right time to play it. Are you going to keep playing this list, or are you moving on?
I really like it. I do not know. I mean, there's a bunch of other. I made all those lists right in that podcast, and there are a bunch of them that I would like to try. But honestly, there are lots of things about this that I really like. I could see taking it to Warfare Weekend and seeing how it does. By Warfare Weekend, we're going to see another release or 2, right? So there might be some new things spinning.
Apocalypse comes out in 3 weeks, I think, and
Yeah.
then the New Mutants come out tonight, or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then after that, I want to say Archangel also comes out with Apocalypse. There's a handful of stuff. And then the Supernatural stuff, I think, comes out in first week in November.
Yeah.
So I believe they're legal at Warfare.
So there's going to be a lot of new stuff going on there. But one of the things that like you said, I didn't build it as a meta read. I built it because I didn't want to take damage from throws. But it has a couple things in it that definitely work right now. Just like DR on cheap models, like just shaving damage off so you can't like punt people and obliterate people instantly. And those big turns where like attack, throw to just delete someone just doesn't work against this list. And those are all things that blitz lists want. And since that's what the meta we're in right now, it felt particularly good that day. But
you didn't play any actual aggro lists, right? You played Asgard, which is control with damage.
It was shield. Namor shield is what.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing like Namor shield isn't even like hyper.
Right.
Aggro.
Yeah. He didn't even. I think he had Zemo on his list, but he didn't even put Zemo down against me. Yeah. So it wasn't the full.
And so, like, if you had played against like Red Skull with Zemo and all that, like, it's interesting because they can just delete random people. Obviously, Hulkbuster is fairly safe, but
I think. I mean, Perrin was definitely playing a blitzy list. It was all out offense. It was.
What did he have?
It was Red Skull. His list.
I thought he was playing Hellfire Club.
Oh no, it was Red Skull.
Oh, okay. I think I just saw Emma like
Red Skull 3.
Maybe
He's always playing
I saw somebody else's trade.
Yeah, Perrin was playing Red Skull 3, Super Blitz Cabal.
There you go. Yeah,
and it worked. But yeah. So I think it's right now specifically. It's actually pretty good. But like I said, I didn't do it because I'm big brain meta read. It was just
I don't think it's a meta counter. I just think it's a dark horse that works.
Right.
Because if you were to try and play that 8 months ago, I think it is still dark horse, but doesn't work because you just get outscored like a motherfucker.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you lose every game 16-8, and you're like, well, this was fun.
Yeah.
You're like, I guess I do nothing now.
Because it's funny, you need to be able to blitz those models off, and this list has none of that. Like, it cannot.
No, the Steelers just take all your shit, you watch them, and you're like, cool. And then I try and kill you back, and I probably get one of your guys dead, and you score 5. And I'm like, well, this is not working.
Yeah. The one thing that is interesting about it, though, is it does feel different than the Criminals version, which the Criminals are also like potatoes that are scoring, right? But this one, like, there's a lot more mobility in a lot of the models, so I can rotate a lot faster and a lot easier while I'm also doing things like attacking and pushing. Mm-hmm. There are a lot more options, which I liked. I liked that this one was a lot more interactive than the Kingpin version, which it was just like, oh, look, I'll move twice and sit on this one instead of the one I was sitting on before. This one is much more of an interactive experience.
I love Hulkbuster's leadership, like, thematically and functionally within the game. I think it was a great adaptation of like the point of Hulkbuster into a game, but he's kind of a like, I don't know, like a fluffy leader, not like a good leader, right? Like, he's not a functional leader most of games, and so I kind of wish he had a more viable general leadership that would warrant him getting played more as a leader. But so it's like a catch-22 because I think they nailed like the point of Hulkbuster within a list, but then it sucks because it's so niche.
Yeah, I feel like it being just collisions and that's all means, like, on average, you're probably saving like 2 or 3 damage across your whole list.
The big deal is it's like backbreaking to some lists.
Yes.
But other lists just don't care, right? It's
right.
Like, oh no, you took 0 damage on my 0 throws. Like, it's just irrelevant.
Yeah, it really does. It felt like I was playing without a leadership sometimes, but like I said, every once in a while, you're just like, you score a bunch of scenario points because they just couldn't kill you when you don't have the throw attached. So it's not. Sometimes it's amazingly impactful, but I wish it was something I could maybe it just needs like an addendum, something else. I don't know.
No, I think it's good. I don't think you can give it really much else because he, as a whole, almost like gatekeeps throw lists. Because, like, one of the things I haven't really talked about on the cast, I'm just talking about it outside the cast, is your list hard counters mine. Like, I just auto lose to you, which is one of the reasons we haven't played. Yeah. Like, it's just a pointless game. It's like, I'm playing Apex and Mags, and then a lot of my other characters throw as well. It's just like, okay, you just literally cut my damage in half. Like, Magneto is a worthless 6-point leader against Hulkbuster specifically.
Yeah, I'm even doubling down with shit like Supergiant.
Yeah, it's like, so brutal. Yeah, no, it will. Yeah, it's just I can't do anything. Right, yeah. I'll do 0 damage with throws for 3 turns, and so I just lose because your models are better at standing on points than mine, just because they're better at spreading out. Mm-hmm. And so like it's just a terrible game. And so like gatekeep stuff like that. But then against like Web Warriors, it's like you basically have like a 10% win con, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
and so
it's
just so binary day and night that it kind of sucks because it doesn't make him competitively viable. Mm-hmm. Like you go to like Adepticon, you're like, what are the odds no one's playing scenario, and they don't make it to top tables? It's just unrealistic, right?
Right.
And so it just sucks to be that But I love the model. I love his mechanics. I'm happy someone's playing it.
Yeah. Jeremy, did you have fun on the tournament?
Yes.
No.
I actually did. I had fun.
Good.
But I was playing it on my terms, which is
I mean,
not...
It's no Monday game day with Brandon, so
yeah.
it's only like somewhat fun.
And when I mean my terms, like I have concluded that defenders are not good. But I think that they are
what
fun.
A statement.
Yeah, they're too dice dependent, and you can't fix it.
So I think defenders are very viable. I think that the way you want to play them is less viable, which is a completely fair position. Because I don't think you want to play like meta defenders. You want to play the models you like in defenders, is what I feel like.
Kind of, sorta. I mean, I've done all of it, and
that's how I feel about Brotherhood.
I've played wide. I've done all this stuff with them, and they do play better wide. Not quite as fighty and all that. But my list is basically defenders with slamming a giant model in there or two. Mm-hmm. My first game was with Aaron, and we just did big model versus big model. I mean, I did Thanos, Hulk, and Zemo, I think it was, or maybe it was... I think it was regular Hulk.
Your defenders list of Hulk, Thanos, Zemo?
No. That one was unaffiliated.
Okay.
So I dropped 3 models on him.
That was kind of my point about the defenders list.
Yeah, no. But yeah. I saw what he was doing. I mean, he had giant models.
Yeah,
I'm like, what am I going to do?
I'm not saying you did it wrong. I'm just saying, like, that's not the standard go-to defenders.
So, fistful of dice. He ended up winning that game.
Yeah.
The second game, I played Adam, who was actually running an interesting... I'm so lazy anymore, I don't even look at what... I'm like, what are you playing? They're like, I'm doing this. I'm like, fine, whatever. And he drops Ebony Maw, and I've got all these fucking guys that you can't just throw Mystic at me. I collapse. So Mystic and throws is real bad against my list. So Ebony Maw was a nightmare for 3 turns. I finally got him off the board a little too late. I ended up losing that game. And then poor Brandon Morris, he lines up. We start playing, and all of his models shit the bed hard. Like, nobody does anything. He gets completely just removed from the table with everything he does. I felt honestly bad. He didn't even get to start playing the game.
Did he play Shang-Chi against you?
No.
One of his games, his Shang-Chi did a grand total of like 4 hits for the entire game and just did absolutely nothing. And he was like, I fucking hate this guy. He's so bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad in our game. I think he did very, very little.
It wasn't against you, I remember. It was either round 2 or round 3, so I was just checking if it was against Jeremy.
Yeah, and it wasn't Shang-Chi. Like, his models that were really bad, like, he had a Hawkeye that just couldn't produce anything on one flank, and I kept putting, models right next to him that got to count blanks. Like, there's all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I just scored out on him really quickly because I played wide in that game. But yeah, that's what happened.
Cool.
I'm actually with you, Jeremy. I think defenders they are like definitely capable of getting to a semifinals, but they're like a top cut. I don't know how they get past that because they're not quite as killy as the killies.
I'm going to say they are anchored because I think Daredevil is garbage. He has 5 health on the front. If you want to deal with him, you have models that can deal with him. If you want to go stand next to him and fight him fair, that's your problem. You've done it wrong. But if you have a range 3 there's just ways to get him. He doesn't have enough health to survive.
He does have weaknesses, right? And I think a lot of it is lining up the ability to play around it. He is fast, and so you have to save to counter deploy him. And then if your opponent switches on you, then you just run away from them because you can outrun anybody. And so I think that's a little bit of it, but obviously on stuff like intrusions, it's less viable to do that because they just hop back after you.
I think
Daredevil is one of the better 4s of the previous era.
I was getting ready to say you fixed your statement. I was going to say
no, it's like him and Black Panther.
He is not
like the gold standard of old 4s.
He is not even close to a new 4. Like he
the
can't.
New 4s are getting pretty silly.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem.
The new 5s. The new 5s are getting silly. Is honestly the problem. Because like Logan and there's a couple other 4s that are up there with that same tier. Like Logan has no weaknesses. Like Logan is designed to have multiple weaknesses printed on his card, and he just doesn't. Like his model is so good at just ignoring them. I think defenders are still good, but yeah, it's interesting. They're definitely not consistent like a lot of the really good affiliations are.
I mean, if we made a tier list, right? Like, and I'm not the minutia of it, I don't know, but I doubt that defenders make it to top 5, right? Top 5 leaderships. I just can't imagine it.
Oh, leaderships, or you mean affiliations?
I'm just saying affiliation. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in that realm. It's just where you break ties, really, because I think webs are still very top tier. I don't know about Hellfire Club after the nerfs. I'd like to see them played, but nobody can see us played Hellfire Club to my knowledge since the update, so I haven't seen them in action. The thing that I think is surprising, I think Asgard's actually not good. Like, I don't think they're trash. I think Asgard's problem is they just lose to the A tier lists. And so if everything above you is a bad matchup, that's really unfortunate. And so it's like Webs, I think, beats Asgard. I think Red Skull 3 beats Asgard. I think a well-run Shield or Defenders list with Namor beats Asgard. And so it's just really interesting where they fall and what they beat. Because I think they're like a gatekeeper. Asgard will beat everything below them, but loses to everything above them. And so they can't move up. They're just like hard locked in like the upper mid tier is the way I view them right now, based on what I've seen.
I haven't seen enough of it. It seems like they're very dice dependent.
Mm-hmm. I put like Red Skull 3 and Webs in probably the top 3. We were thinking that Defenders with Namor was going to be in the top 3 as well. And maybe the dice just aren't quite there, but I think they're not easy to play.
I think Namor as a 5-point model is a 5-point model. I don't think he's top tier 5-point. I think he lives in exactly where he should, and he's not as glossy or spicy as people think. I've lost my Namor in every game I play him, just about, and he dies when he should. Like, if you don't have DR these days, in some sort of wacky defense mechanic, a single reroll with stats of 4s across the board isn't enough.
Yeah, no, he is definitely fragile for like his quality. Like, he is a better model than he is tough for sure, but he is still noticeably tough compared to the average model in the game. He's just not off the charts tough like Juggernaut and Thanos. What he brings is that obviously like he's removing DR from both sides, right? Like he's as killy as you're gonna get for less than 6 points. But yeah, I think there's a big mosh pit right now for the upper middle tier of the game, and I'm interested to see how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, I would say that they're upper middle class. Or middle, you know what I mean? Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, here, I got the affiliation list.
I would put them with Midnight Suns.
I think Defenders is better than Midnight Suns. But I think most of Midnight Suns' power level is tied up into Immortal Hulk. So, all right, so let's do this. We'll just give them A through F tier rating on the affiliations. You guys want to do this? Let's run through them real quick.
Like A through F. Each. Okay.
A through F. No S tier bullshit. A through F.
Okay.
A-Force. We'll give them a C.
Sure.
They would be good if the meta was different.
Or do this real fast, just based on
just facts.
Like where we feel they go right now.
Current meta, where they fall.
Okay. I think A-Force has something to be explored, but I agree with you right now. They're a C.
B.
D.
B.
B. Is it Bravo?
Yep.
Wow, you think they're really good. Asgard, I give them a B.
I think a B. Yeah.
Avengers.
A.
I think a B as well.
A.
I think A.
A single tactics card makes them an A.
It's a good tactics card. I just don't think they do anything that another affiliation doesn't do right now, other than just have the best grease. So, moving on, Black Order, I give them a D.
Fuck.
I don't think there's any reason. I honestly, I would give them an F.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah, I would give them.
There's no reason to play Black Order, the faction.
I'll give them a D. I think.
Brotherhood, I think, are a C, but they're an upper C.
Mm-hmm.
C.
The definition of flexibility, I think, but that's but
they have a lot of quality pieces. They're just they're a step behind the stuff they need to beat to be an A tier.
Right.
Cabal A.
A.
Yeah, to kill things, A.
Convocation D.
Poor Convocation, man.
C.
I give him a D as well.
I don't see how they're a C, but
I think
I can respect.
I think you have personal thoughts in that.
Well, I
You
mean,
got
yeah,
touched.
knowing what they were, I think they
Yeah.
were C before they got nerfed, and getting nerfed on top of it is just like, why? Like, there's no reason to play them. You just play Midnight Suns.
Yeah, I always thought they're better than that though, but that's fine.
Criminals,
B.
I want to give them an A, but I think they're a B right now.
B, yeah.
Dark Dimension, F.
Probably F.
F.
Defenders.
C.
I think I'm going to give him
You have bias, sir.
What's funny is that
They're at least a B. I don't think there's a single argument for them to not be a B.
Yeah, I think they're a B, but man, they feel like B-.
Honestly, I want to give them an A.
You've lost your minds.
If it's a true bell curve and it's really thins at the ends, I can understand a B, but they're a good team. Guardians, I think Guardians are honestly still an A.
I would also say A.
It's so funny. Yeah. I feel like they disappeared off the map because 100%. People didn't like it, but they are still so strong. I looked at it the other day. I think
that's more to do with A, people played them for so long because they were busted for a long time.
Right.
And now there's new stuff to explore, so they're just on the back burner for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hellfire Club, I think, is still an A.
Probably A. I don't know.
I'm curious to see, but probably still A.
Yeah. Hydra, probably a D.
I think Sleeper. I think Sleeper B, but I think it's a really what?
Sell me on B. I don't see what you're looking at.
Okay, now here's what's weird, and we've talked about this before. Hydra, the affiliation, can't play many affiliated models because they have so many models that have the same name, and so many of the models are absolute garbage. However, playing Hydra with some other characters like Hulk with Sleeper Agent, Winter Soldier with Sold Out activated, they get so much out of some of these effects, and I think the current meta, it could stomp it. However, that's a totally hypothetical B.
I would love. You should play that next, because I'd love to see you run Hydra into some of the shit that's getting played right now. I think you just get run over.
I don't know. It's actually it was on the short list actually.
I'm going to stick with a D. I optimistically would accept a C. But
okay.
I will say
Jeremy, what'd
C.
You say? C.
Just for respect.
Yeah. Inhumans. I think Inhumans at absolute floor right now are a B.
Yeah.
B.
I'd
Midnight Suns?
I don't know, man. They feel like a C right now. I don't know why they feel so bad. Maybe I'm wrong.
Man. I think Immortal Hulk running around right now is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And just not enough people are trying it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. And also, anyone who wanted to play Midnight Suns is just currently playing Defenders. I think the biggest problem with Midnight Suns is they get boring to play with because they only have 2 lines of play.
Yep.
Midnight Suns, New Mutants, we're just going to skip. Sentinels, I don't know if you can say. I guess they just got some buffs. I'd say D.
Yeah,
I would also say realistically a D.
Shield. Shield's higher than they've ever been, I think. B?
I think right now they definitely feel like a B.
Yeah.
I'd say C.
You just really hate Namor right now.
No, I didn't even think that Namor was with them. I keep forgetting that. But
yeah, he's one of their leaders.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Again.
Yeah.
Don't play
Spider Foes. I think Spider Foes are.
I think their stock's going up,
C.
man.
Oh no,
I think it is going up.
Down.
I think it's a C, but I think it was trending towards a B. Well, they just got all their new models, and so when did it go down?
Well, it's because I think the meta shifted away what they like to prey on. I think they actually had a really awesome chance.
Like to prey on?
Low health scenario teams. I think they're really good into them.
I don't think they were good into them. I just think they had a game into them.
Right. They had really cool tools.
I think what they want to do is play a brawly, drawn-out game, and I think both Defenders, Shield, and a lot of those types of teams like Hydra, those are the games they want to play. They want to fight medium model count with tricky stuff.
Yeah, right? I'm with you, but the problem is all of the aggressive attrition lists right now just blow them out of the water. They can't keep up with Cabal. And that kind of
maybe.
Stuff. I actually don't know if they can keep up with Asgard, actually.
I think Red Skull is really their problem right now. If you took Red Skull out of the meta, I think they're actually fine.
Yeah.
I think they're actually good into Asgard because they have big enough health pools to survive the Loki damage, and they can punish Loki for trying to get aggressive.
I don't know. I feel like as soon as Loki, I don't know, as soon as Loki does his spender, and you do a couple little trick damage, and then Thor starts throwing him around and throwing himself into him, I feel like they would just melt. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, you're definitely going to kill them. But
Yeah.
I honestly think the addition of Electro, Sandman, and like a handful of others, I think they're teetering on B. Like they've got some new shit, man.
I think there's a chance. It really just depends, like you guys are exactly saying right now, on how they deal with the newest teams.
Mhm.
So I think we know how they deal with the old stuff.
Right.
It's really just how they deal with the new things, and I haven't seen a lot of those because Spider-Foe's got some run really quick, but then kind of everyone immediately switched to the new stuff as soon as the new stuff came out.
Yeah,
so I haven't seen a lot.
Yeah, this is one of the things I didn't talk about with the news, but I feel like we went through this long period where everybody was kind
Nothing happened.
of nothing, and now all of a sudden Spider-Foes come out, and then 2 weeks later, Namor comes out, and then 2 weeks later New Mutants comes out, and no one's going to have a feel for what's actually happening for a bit.
X-Men. This might be X-Men's lowest point in history, but I think they're still a C.
Yep, I would call them a C.
I mean, maybe it's just Kansas City, but like Professor X made a splash and vanished.
That's because he doesn't do enough, man. Like, I don't think.
X-Men have always... Good.
No, I was going to say, I just think everyone's kind of lost their mind on all these different builds and needs to go back to some reality. I think there's still a B. I just don't think people are playing it right now.
So, X-Men are a team thematically that I love, but ever since they've been introduced to the game, they play exactly like I fucking hate in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They're gimmicky, rules exploitive. Like, they seem to almost like play letter of the rules, not intent of the rules. Like, all their stuff is like, I can jump over dazed models and you can't. And I'm like, okay. And you're just like, why can't Medusa use her ability on a dazed? Like, it's just all this weird stuff. Or like, all my guys interact for free. And you're like, they just exploit rules as opposed to be the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And Professor X feels 100% more of that.
Yeah.
It's like, why is your guy medium? That makes no sense. Like, oh, just cause X-Men power creep. And you're like, it's very off-putting watching. I just hate the way they were portrayed within the game. I hate how they were portrayed in the game.
I actually think Cyclops is currently their strongest leader, and he has a lot of play, but I don't think they redid him, and I think very few people actually were willing to try him again because he just went maligned so long, maybe, or
I think
there were so many other things to do. But
I think Cable stole the show of the
Yeah.
Blaster mutants.
Right.
All right, Wakanda. Boy, this has been a roller coaster of Wakanda.
Yeah, man.
They were amazing at the beginning. Then
Yeah.
they slowly tapered off, going down. Then they released Spirit of Wakanda and fucking rocket ship to the moon again.
Yeah.
It was like, God damn it! And
Yeah.
then they banned Advanced R&D, and now they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anyone play them since that got banned, so I have no idea if they're good or not.
I wonder, are people, because you can still play with Wong, right? Like, Wong can still activate it, right? Is that right?
Can, but you can't do it on the first turn of the game anymore.
Right.
And so if you had Prio before, you could do it, play the card, and still activate a model.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like, it was so much faster. Now if you don't have Prio, they go, you activate Wong. They go again, you play Spirit of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
They go again, then you get to go get an extract. And you're like, oh wait, there's 3 extracts gone already. And so it's just really weird. It's hard to say that you can do it without Prio anymore.
Yeah, I think they're probably still, because they have such like premium tools for incredible prices. Like I still feel like they can easily be a C, if not a B. But
yeah, I would say C probably.
C is their floor, but probably C.
Wakanda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, I didn't hear your argument completely, but it's hard not to put it in an A.
A+.
No.
Yeah, really?
So the issue is, banning Advanced R&D is a big deal because they can't play Spirit of Wakanda on the first turn. They have to activate Wong first, which means also one of your non-affiliated slots is permanently gone, and you're playing a 2-point model in your list that doesn't do anything but help you play a tactics
So
card.
you're also implying that Spirit of Wakanda made them good. No, I mean that made a version of them. They were good before that shit. People just weren't playing it.
They were good before, but they were primarily good because there was specific list builds like Thanos that made it good.
And those are still around.
I will bow towards a B. How about that?
Yeah, I think they're a C, but because we haven't seen anybody play them since the Advanced R&D ban, we have no idea if that's accurate or not.
Yeah.
So it's just a feel. Weapon X, without the new models, I don't know. The new Wolverine seems amazing. However, he can't be played with your best model, so I don't know that it matters.
Yeah. Weapon X feels still
C.
A C.
They're dice lottery.
Okay, I was gonna say D just because they have
C.
no tricks, but
I think they're a D because they're just an aggression team that doesn't have tricks, like you just said. It's like they just dice people. That's all they can do. Web Warriors, I think, are solid A. Yeah, like most auto A ever, I think. But maybe the new edition is just so aggressive. But I mean, if they survive CGR, I can't imagine they're not going to survive the current meta. So
Web Warriors, I don't know if anybody's tried it yet, or maybe I'm just really wrong. And without advanced R&D, maybe people can actually shift now to going, okay, well, if you're making me fight, I'll just play things like Scarlet Witch and Gwynnum. Not Scarlet Witch, Silver Sable. I don't know why I think Scarlet Spider for half a second, but Gwynnum and Silver Sable, like, they'll fight the shit out of you with their core.
I didn't even play Advanced R&D, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I know people who were playing the Turbo Score version were doing Advanced R&D.
Oh, no, yeah, I had Sack and Brace. Yeah, I never played that. The Turbo Score, I don't think you need Advanced R&D for that at all. I think they actually got better with the update. Moving on, we got Winter Guard. I think they're a D, but they're not like bad. They're just limited. I think their actual team is good. I just don't think Crimson Dynamo is probably at his weakest point he's ever been. So I don't know that they're good.
After playing him this week, I feel like it's actually the opposite. I feel like he feels really good into these Alpha Strikey lists. Because one of the things he does is blunt Alpha Strikes, because he can't make you reroll every attack from a rapid fire list, right?
Right.
But he can stop these big rolls from just killing you, and he also is difficult to kill. And also, I haven't seen a lot of people do it, but you can just, play some of these excellent attrition models in their list.
Sure.
Famously, it just happened in Ashcon, right? So I think they're probably right now at least a D, but maybe even a C.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't give them an F.
Yeah.
I think they're much better than that. But the only reason I'd say, because all what you just said is correct, but I think there's a higher percentage of size 3 throws in the game than there's ever been.
True.
And so him getting displaced is backbreaking for them when your entire strategy is my leader has disruption field.
Mm-hmm.
C.
Delta, D?
No, I said C.
C, okay. The final one is X-Force. X-Force!
C.
I want to give them a C, Charlie, because I don't know how well they aged into the new stuff, but I could definitely see it.
I think losing exceptional healing was an enormous hit for them.
Well, I mean, it's just Logan, right? I mean, I guess X-23 as well.
The
way I played them, I guess, was a little different, so I'm thinking of my personal experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was playing a lot I was playing Deadpool and X-23 usually in the same table, or Logan, right? So like in
that example, I think the people that were running like 2 or 3 healing factor models are more advantaged by having the new card version than anybody else. And I think it's actually a fairly linear change in those examples.
I think that would, but there's so many like I said, the Alpha Strikey lists are the ones that are popular right now, and they're the ones that are really preying on, your typical, but the X-Forces also can be a little Alpha Strikey actually. They're really high tempo. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I think they're definitely a B. What did you guys say?
I said a C.
I said a B.
I believe Jeremy said B.
Yeah, I think they're really high tempo. For that, I'm going to give them a B. They're still really high tempo.
I do like their high tempo. The only problem I see is I think they only have one high tempo model, and that's Cable. Cable's amazingly high tempo.
Yeah.
Who else is high tempo in their list?
You are correct.
Colossus.
Okay. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Colossus, the ultimate high tempo. So that was always my problem. So I was playing them with Rhino, and Logan can be tempo if you can set it up, and they don't have a safe grabber. But we've already established everyone in the game is currently running a safe grabber. When your opponent has ASM, how valuable is Cable? It's just like, what do I do? Like, ASM gets the middle point, moves to cover, now what? And so it's just like, I'm not going to kill him. I'm probably not even going to damage him. And so it's like, what the fuck do you do now? I don't know. I think they got hit reasonably hard with the meta shift as opposed to the actual nerf. But yeah, I think they're a good team still. But as we've seen, like, Thor going into Cable is going to be a bad time for Cable. Because he's going to pounce into him, do like 3 fucking damage, and then just double tap him.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I kind of think Thor like 1 rounds Cable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what
I think X-Force is one of those teams that's going to get gate kept by the actual middle tier stuff.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I see.
Yeah. I think they're going to run into Asgard and go, oh shit.
To be fair, what you just said, how you described it, it could have been read as Cable or.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You said he's going to do.
Cable's going to have a bad time.
He's going to throw and he's going to double tap him. I'm like, oh, yeah, right.
Well, but Thor lives through that.
Yeah,
because he still has real exceptional healing.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I think Thor going into Cable is like an 80% chance to kill him, and I think Cable going into Thor is like a 20% chance to kill him, assuming you have Odin's Blessing online.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if you have Odin's Blessing online, I think it's like a 4% chance to kill him. I think
it's higher than that. You could just super spike and just one shot him on the other attack.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, 5 dice with just saying full rerolls even averages like 4 hits. He's blocking 1.5. It's actually like 1 3/4. So let's say he blocks 3 over the 2 attacks. So you do 5, then you do the throw. Even if it's size 4, that's only 9 damage. He's blocking. It's like a coin flip without without Odin's Blessing. And I think with Odin's Blessing, it's like 10%. And you're only going to get the one time that you're going to get to go into him for free. Anyway, that was fun. That was an interesting little exercise.
I think I'm going to keep trying to do some of these. As long as the meta is just the Wild Wild West, I'm going to keep trying some of this weird-ass jank.
I think you should. I think you should set a minimum game limit, though, on each list. Because one of the problems I've had in the past is I'll just machine gun through different things. And so I'll play like Defenders for 2 weeks, then I'll play Convocation for 2 weeks. But those 2 weeks can be 1 or 5 games. And so sometimes I'll play a list once or twice, switch, and then I feel burnt out because I'm like, well, I played everything, but I've only played some of those lists like once or twice, but I did play them, so I don't want to go back and get the models out again. Mm-hmm. And so what I've done this time with the Brotherhood list, I'm setting a minimum like 10 games before I move off of it. And I didn't get to play in the tournament, so I just haven't gotten there yet. I've been playing 2.5 games a week, though, on game day, which has been nice. So yeah, I got 2 more games with Brotherhood. I'm very excited to switch to my Spider Foes list that we built last week, but I just haven't finished my 10 games yet.
Yeah.
And even against Jeremy, I almost switched it out, and I said, fuck 10 games. I was like, I'm going to play Spider Foes. But I was like, no, I'll be mad at myself if I do that, so I'm going to stick. And we had a super fun game, so it worked out.
Yeah. I do like the feeling of this, what's the worst word, like blurry meta, as opposed to what I had before. Like when you guys were talking earlier about like no Steelers, I did not see a single Steeler that whole tournament. And
I mean,
do you want
me to tell you the stat that will actually make you sad?
Okay, go ahead.
So we had 4 tables playing at once at the tournament. We had 8 people. Four tables happening. There were 6 Namor/Lokis on those tables.
That's true. There is a hotness. I get it. But the hotness...
And you played 0.
Yeah.
You had none of those models.
Yeah. That being said, I get that there's a new hotness, but the new hotness is specifically not Steelers, which we all have agreed are just the thing that makes the game feel like less fun, right? Because it's so non-interactive. And Namor makes you drop things. I don't consider it as much of a factor as
right. He's not really a stealer. It's more insurance in case he doesn't kill you.
Right.
It'd be different if you didn't get to count crits against him or reroll dice. Like you just get waxed. Like if you're standing there, and
sure. If he had like the ribbons rule where you can't mod against.
Oh
him.
Yeah, anything
crazy.
Stupid.
Well,
but
yeah, but I mean, I still think he's like A+ tier without that stuff. But he isn't a blunt forced object, right? Like he's not Hulk. He can't just run in and do what he wants. He's like Zemo. You have to be very careful with him to get his mileage. Mm-hmm. And so I think some people just don't have that play style. Some people have to get used to playing him. But I still think Namor is going to be in the meta for the foreseeable future. And if you're a heavy competitive meta choice at a 5-point mercenary role, you can't not be an S tier model. Like, the game is so power crept at this moment that's not, you can't have both be true. You can't be not super good and get splashed in every list. That's not how the game works. It's like, Black Cat, you can say isn't a super meta model, but then if she's in every fucking list, then she is. Like, it's just, you can't have both.
Mm-hmm.
I think Loki will see a huge step back in the next, 3 months. But I think Namor will stick around.
Interesting.
That's at least my prediction. I could easily be wrong.
Well, honestly, like I said, everything is so blurry when they're putting out new models, so often. And
it's not so often. This is just their normal release schedule.
I know, but it feels so often. Maybe I'm wrong.
After going away from it, I've always said I think they should do 1 box a month now that the game is established. And I think going much 2 a month is probably fine, but at 3 a month, the game's going to get bloated real fast. And you're actually going to discourage people from buying. No, not many people are going to be buying more, so to where you're not losing money by reducing your release schedule, because so many people are only buying the 1 or 2 boxes a month anyway. It's only a small percentage that's buying everything, and so if you slow down release cycle, they'll just buy more of the shit they weren't going to buy. And so, logistically, I think it works out to be about the same. I think 3 boxes a month, though, 36 releases a year, which is 72 models, is a lot of models every year.
Yeah. But it does make things interesting when you're trying to figure out what's next or what's around the corner or guess.
Yep.
It just makes it harder. And I like that. I like it where things are shaking up.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. We got some special football talk after the pre-ramble. So if you're an NFL fan, stay tuned. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy.
And you've just listened to Parker Busts Some Hulk. So much Hulk. Very little busting.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
And we're back.
So
Goddamn. Goddamn.
Nailed it.
For my victory lap.
I think we're legit going to have a war over the same 5 movies.
Could be.
There's really not that many good choices.
That's true. I like the category we chose because I don't think
they only made
choices.
7 good movies at that time in this genre.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so there was a lot of really prolific action movies during the time, but they were all just bad.
Garbage fires.
Really, there's something about 80s action movies that they just stand the test of time because they're simple. The 80s movies in, I don't know, the 2000s were all very emo punky as opposed to just over the top action. And so you have Romeo Must Die and all these Cradle to the Grave and shit like that. It's just this is, I don't know, it's just kind of angsty as opposed to action.
Am I wrong? Maybe somebody can tell me no. Did 80s kind of create what we consider the action movie, the prototypical action movie? Or were there 70s and 60s and 50s kind of action movies?
The technology and the definition of the recordings got to a point where there was a huge return on over-the-top gratuitous action. And that just was a catalyst. And so nowadays we have that in everywhere, video games and stuff. So I think now action movies, to be successful, have to have something else to them. And in the 80s, they really didn't. The plot was so irrelevant in an action movie in the 80s, like Commando or, Die Hard and all those. It's just doesn't matter. There's bad guys. Let's kill them. It was the first advent of global villains, really. It was terrorists and all that. We're just it's an excuse. Cold War, whatever, kill them all. And you're okay. And then you have Terminator 2, where it's just wholesale murder throughout half the movie.
Yeah. I don't know enough about movie history to know. But
because there's a lot of like 70s action movies, but they're just not as over the top as I would say 80s movies are. Like, it's a lot more like there's some shootouts, but it's a lot of like quick cuts and stuff. There's not as many effects because, practical effects are expensive and time consuming. But also, like, the definition wasn't there to show the explosions being any more than like an orange ball on the screen. So I just don't think it was worth the return of the investment. And when in the 80s, I think you hit that sweet spot where it just took off.
Yeah, I'm looking at him here, and maybe I'm wrong and somebody can show me something, but I feel like a part of it had to do with like action and choreography itself, like cinematography and the way they did it. Like a lot of these ones that I've seen on this list, they're like, it wasn't very dynamic cinematography, right? Creating this really like high energy, like rolling moments where it was like a 15-minute action sequence was nothing they could really do, right? So you get these little moments where the drunken master would kick somebody in the face, but it wasn't like I'm going to watch him fight somebody else for upwards of 30 minutes of runtime, right? That wasn't something they could do. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm just totally wrong. And yeah, people were definitely doing that much, but yeah. It definitely left the 80s definitely left an indelible mark on the zeitgeist, right? Like, that's a thing.
It's also, like, you just look through 10 years of movies on your list you were looking at, and it's like, yeah, but go look at the 80s, and, like, if you just think of it this way, like, there's so many 80s movies that even if you break it up by year, how many amazing movies came out in any one year in the 80s that are just, like, infinitely known and recognizable? And I get that it's part of the generation gap, like, we've hit the sweet spot on those years where so many people have seen them. But, like, just pull up, like, 2012, like, how many amazing movies came out in 2012? I bet you it's less than 5.
There's something to be said, though, about the fact that early 80s, nobody had a VCR. You had to go to the movies, right? So to really watch a movie 400 times, that just didn't happen. Then VCRs got released, and that, and then rental stores, and then DVDs, and then, I mean, it's just so different. In the 80s, you had recorded a movie off TV that you tried to edit out commercials, so you then had a copy of it at your home. And then once you had that copy, you could watch it all the time. I had a dubbed copy of Braveheart that was really bad, but I had it, by God, and it was
You're like,
awesome.
Oh man, I get to watch Braveheart whenever I want.
Anytime
it didn't cost me $40.
It was so different. Like, some of the movies that, like, in the 80s I'm passionate about were only because I had to watch them, because it was 3 movies were on a disc because my family stole HBO for a year. So they recorded everything on all these fucking movies.
Yeah, so many VHSs with white labels and Sharpies, and you're just like, I can't even read this. And it's like, they re-recorded over it 3 times, and so there's like crossed out, like rewritten in the corner. Like, I was like, I don't know what this is. It's either a wedding video or porn. I'm not sure.
It's the different.
I remember,
like
just telling somebody in like the early 90s, just like, hey, by the way, in the future you'll be able to pay $5-10 a month and watch anything this company makes, instant streaming, 4K resolution on your TV or computer.
You're a goddamn
on
liar.
Your phone.
Yeah, no.
And you're just like, that's like, that literally sounds crazier than Star Trek. You're just like, that's not going to happen. It is like instantaneously. Yeah. It's just interesting. I remember, like, there was the person that lived on our block when I was a kid, like a really little kid, and I was friends with their son. And we would go over there, and it was like going to Blockbuster, because the guy just owned so many movies, and he displayed them. He turned his entire living room wall into a display for movies, and he had them all faced, so you could see the pictures of the VHSs. So I would basically go over there every day at like 6 o'clock, and we would pick out a movie, and I'd borrow it, and take it, walk 5 houses back to my house, we'd watch it, and then I'd bring the movie back the next day, and we'd get a new movie. And it was like going to Blockbuster, just taking his movies.
Yeah, everybody had that friend that had all the movies, yeah.
Yeah. It's okay that you have financially ruined yourself as long as I get to watch them. Because wasn't it still like $15-20 for a VHS back then? For like new ones?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I'm trying to think of the average price of movies back then. Like, I think they were about like $30.
10 to
like, if you bought a VHS tape brand new, like a brand new copy of Braveheart,
yeah, like Braveheart just came out. It's VHS on the wall. That's why everyone went to movie rental places. It was too expensive to buy all the movies.
Yeah. I mean, you might be right.
And then
It
you
might
would
have been
buy
20.
the used copy from the movie rental place when you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. It says it depends what you mean. They have some references as in the Seinfeld episode where George loses a Rochelle VHS videotape. He is charged $98 US by the video rental place,
Yeah.
which is about the right price that would have been charged at the time. In 1985, the closeout sale price of a new VHS movie was $50 US.
Jeez.
Over time, the prices dropped down to 25 and under by the time VHSs started to be,
because it was
cycled.
like new, yeah.
Yeah. By the time VHSs kind of were go out the window and DVDs and other things were showing up, it was down to like $10 or less. But
what was it? There was the plastic tab you could break off that made it like recordable or not recordable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'd put tape over it. So
like you would
record
literally
it.
go in and have to break a piece of plastic off of your VHS, and that would make it no longer writable. And so you could like permanently save the VHS by breaking that tab off.
$100 in the early
That's
80s.
insane.
That's like equivalent
also,
to like
there was the
$200
scam-
now.
They would tell you, well, we have premium VHSs so they can withstand the wear.
Yeah.
And because they get played so many more times than regular VHS, so ours cost like 4 times as much. I'm like, bull fucking shit they do. You would just buy 4 copies. Which is exactly what you do. And they just tell you that line of bullshit.
Yeah, man, I remember we'd get like my brother and I would each get a VHS for Christmas every year from like my uncle. That's what he would get us. And it was a big deal, like a really big deal. Until later when it became like, nothing. But I remember when I was a little kid, that was huge.
I think obviously they're a thing of the past, but I think the majority of time I've ever spent in a video rental store, the VHSs were still the main product. I very rarely ever rented DVDs. We would almost always exclusively rent VHSs. And then once DVDs became a thing, we would just not watch as many movies. And we would just buy what we wanted. Tell you what, though, end of the year closeouts at like Best Buy, you get like 8 VHSs for like $20. That was awesome. They'd have like the $5 movie bin. And you're like, oh my god, I found Transformers or whatever for $5. Just to be clear, that's the original Transformers.
You got the touch. You got the power.
It's
still one of my favorite riffs.
For Christmas, I opened a cassette tape, a VHS tape, and it was the original Michael Keaton Batman. And just seeing the giant ass Bat logo on the front of it and all that, and it was like crisp, and like that was a video I got as a kid, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
I still remember the preview scrolls for that. I watched that movie so many times. There's like the Daffy Duck Warner Brothers like intro skit, and he's like telling you about how you can buy all the Batman merchandise and stuff.
Gosh, you're right. That did happen.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. He's drinking a soda and eating popcorn and telling you about all the Batman merchandise. I had so many Batman toys when I was a kid. But yeah, I think that's the first DVD I ever remember getting. Like, that was like, they bought for me as opposed to me just watching their movies.
Man, I remember that. Those Daffy Duck promos.
Takes you back, doesn't it?
Oh,
man. I can still remember what our VHS cover of Batman looked like the wear pattern on it. Man, those are the good old days. Tell you what.
I just went and watched, I went and saw a movie today, just as back to reality. I highly recommend Beetlejuice 2. Very good. If you like the first one.
I want to rewatch the original first.
Yeah, and it feels very much like this was made the next day. Like it feels they didn't do a bunch of CGI bullshit. It's Tim Burton doing what Tim Burton does, and the story wasn't complicated. It was just fun. Like I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I'm really excited to see it. I loved the original. It was. I remember that was one of the first movies that I was like, oh, scary and fun was like a thing because I hated horror movies when I was a kid, but somebody asked me, to see it for like no, you got to see it. It's not a scary zombie movie. You'll love it. And I was like,
it's not a horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, I did not believe them until I finally. I want to say I was at a friend's house or something, and I was like, this is awesome. I love it.
Oh boy. So what do you guys want to talk about today? We have news, right? Are we gonna cover stuff?
Is the news just
think we were just talking about the new...
The news was the New Mutants came out. We know the list of them.
Yeah.
And
I will, by proxy, scream the injustice that Magneto's not New Mutants for Josh.
We have 2 New Mutants cards, and I think that's it. 2 New Mutants cards and the New Mutants. Also, we got... I mean, they dropped a bunch of, like, information on their website about the Supernatural guys coming out soon. But I think
I'm actually... Now, maybe I'm crazy. I could be very wrong. But it definitely felt like they did not put the release date up for the Weapon... Or the new... No, yeah, the Weapon X guys. So, like, Maverick and Wolverine and them. Felt like they just appeared on the pre-order list out of nowhere. Because I swear I checked, like, 3 separate times, and the only thing that was pre-orderable was Apocalypse, who's, like, not even out yet, right? Yeah, he comes out later this month. Mm-hmm. And, like, the Weapon X and all that are coming out, like, this week. And I swear I looked, and they were not pre-orderable. I didn't get them pre-ordered until, like, this week, because they just appeared on the website. And so I don't know if there was, like, a delay or something, and they weren't sure they were going to get them, or somebody just messed up and didn't post them. But yeah, we were very close to missing them.
Yeah, we can talk about it once we get there, but I don't understand how any of these things are coming out anymore. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, I'll talk about it later. Like,
okay.
When we get to news, I had a moment of incredulity on Discord, and I still feel it very strongly. But we can talk about it later.
Maybe we should take some time and deep dive into Apocalypse's Horsemen. I haven't spent that much time looking at them. I know Kenny's been looking at stuff.
Yeah, I haven't even tried. We do have. We also have the tournament. We can spend a second to do that.
Oh, oddly, you want to talk about the tournament, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
What do you think, Jeremy? Should we just skip the tournament? I'm leaning that way. Let's just skip the tournament.
No.
Not mention it at all.
There is something to discuss. Vindication was had.
Vindication. There was no vindication.
There was vindication.
Doesn't count.
Parker had full release.
Full release.
Yeah. I did.
All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and start on the Mojo world. You guys ready?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm excited to find out.
I mean, I think if either of you guys don't have my number 1 pick on your lists, you've just strictly failed.
Okay.
And so we'll see how it goes. All right.
I was going to say, who's going to go first, because we don't know who won the last one.
I was going to explain that.
Okay, go.
But we'll talk about it now. We got Jeremy, then me, then you. And that's based on the current poll. You are winning the poll. People really like School of Rock, apparently.
Holy shit, I'm crushing the poll. Not even close.
I actually think School of Rock held you back.
Yeah.
Well, also, I don't think Princess Bride fits into the category, but I think Princess Bride wins as being the best movie on the board.
Yeah.
What's your category? I didn't look at it.
It was live-action family movies. And so, like, Princess Bride
doesn't go there. Know. Good lord.
I agree.
Why not?
It's because... For me, the way it's to me is family movies are kids movies that are not overly childish.
Oh, hold on.
And it's like there's nothing kids movie about Princess Bride.
Actually, I disagree. I'm with Parker. I thought you meant
think it fits
it's a family movie, movies? As in like a group of people who are together as a family,
follows a family
doing shit. I'm like, no.
Like the Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing family movie about
Vacation.
Princess Bride is that it's non-offensive and that it's got the storytelling perspective. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, Mouse Hunt and School of Rock, I think, are probably good ones.
Yeah.
I thought Matilda and Willy Wonka were going to take it down, honestly. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I only picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit to spite Parker, because it's technically a live-action movie, because originally he said non-animated, and then we changed it to live-action, so I was like, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah. He had to have that.
I had to. I can't remember what my other pick was that was like, this is strictly a better movie, but I'm doing this to spite him. All right, so this week on Mojo World, we've got 2000s action movies, so from 00 to 09. Starting this week, we've got Jeremy with the first pick.
I'm going to go with a Nicolas Cage movie. National Treasure.
Oh my god, National Treasure has been picked
I
so
know.
many times.
I know, but
It's also not an action movie at all.
is an
It's not
action
even
movie.
close to it. How is it an action movie?
What are you talking about? The whole time is just go, 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 go,
It's
doing
not action.
fighting.
That's
bad
fast
guys.
paced, not action.
You know what?
What-
You do not
Name
define
one action event that happens in the movie.
one action event. They
Yeah.
steal a constitution and all
That's
that.
not action. That's heist.
You know
Do
what?
they even shoot a gun in the movie?
I don't care.
Are there any stunts?
There's probably a lot of stunts.
It's an intrigue movie. Like, it's not at all.
I tell you
what
what.
do you think? Do you
It's
think
not.
National
It's
Treasure
not
is
an action movie. I can't.
It's
do
not
it.
an action
yeah,
movie.
I can't do it.
It's not. He's trying to. He hates me. He's leaning your way.
I really want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's an action movie.
Oh,
If that's an
okay.
action movie, if that's an action movie, then like the Da
We're
Vinci
talking about
Code
like
is
the
an action movie.
Transporter, right? Like
Yeah.
like there's so many action movies in this genre in this time frame. That's not one of them.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
You said that. Okay. That's a tweener, but I'm definitely more okay with
Yeah.
that than the
Yeah,
other one.
I would call it action adventure, but action's part in there. And I think it counts.
Moving on.
All right, you win the longest fucking movie name because it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
You know
The
what?
Curse of
I'm
the
actually
Black Pearl.
focusing on that now. I don't care about anything else.
You're just going for long ones. I'm gonna abbreviate it. Nobody's gonna know what the fuck it is. It's like POTCTCOTBP. Like what the fuck is that? Okay. All right. The correct first answer that you guys should be ashamed of, or at least Jeremy should be. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
No, don't care.
Equilibrium.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! That was
Got
my
him!
first one.
Fucking
Son of a
got him!
bitch! God damn it!
I never
That made me
seen
so.
Oh my god! Equilibrium, fucking stolen.
God damn you! When you said
Gun kata.
oh, you God damn it! That makes me so.
I'm a cleric
I-
of the High Temple, or whatever the fuck
I don't
he
know
said.
why I thought you
It's
couldn't
so good.
pick Equilibrium. I don't know why I thought you would never pick Equilibrium. Makes me so mad.
You don't know me at all.
Ugh.
You should know by now that I prefer the hanging of wreaths to the laying of torches.
I thought that was the safest one on my list. I was going to
Oh
pick the
my
others
god,
first.
not even close. I'm terrified because I left what is probably actually my first pick on the board because I think it's safer. It was definitely safer than Equilibrium. There's no way it was going to survive two of Parker's picks.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Mainly because I don't think you like it.
Okay, that's
right.
possible.
Parker, you're back to back.
I'm going to go with the reinvention of one of my favorite characters. Yeah, what I think is an action movie, Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig Bond movie.
It is gritty. There is some action. I'm okay with it. I do think it's a borderline pick,
Yeah.
but I think it's much like Pirates. I think if Pirates fits, then this has to.
This next one I could consider an action movie, but somebody else could call it a suspense movie, and I'm willing to be told I can't do it. Is Taken an action movie?
I think Taken's fine.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those that you could put it into, but I think the entire point of that movie is to display Liam Neeson somehow being an action star at 60.
Yeah. He has a particular set of skills.
He does. Nobody watched that movie and go, "Oh my god, the suspense!" You're like, "Did you see when he kicked that guy in the face?" Like,
That shit is
scene-
Shakespeare compared to when he fights a wolf with a broken bottle. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
oh yeah, in
The Gray. Yeah.
That movie was intense. I tell you what, I mean, huge spoiler, obviously, but it was. I guess it was in the trailer. But the whole point of the Gray is like they crash the plane. And they're trying to get south of like the die line in the Arctic.
Yeah.
And the wolves keep attacking them at night. And they're like, we just have to get far enough away from the den. And then the final scene of the movie, he comes over a ridge and sees the den. And the entire movie, they've been walking directly towards it. And had no fucking idea. And he's like, God damn it. It was so great. Okay. right, The Matrix is out. Just confirming. I was like, it made it this far. All right, where's my list? Next up, I'm going to go with Chronicles of Riddick.
Okay.
Based on your guys' silence, I assume I just gutted your lists.
No, it wasn't on my list. They're fine.
That's what I said. I love Chronicles of Riddick.
Mhm.
It's the perfect campy, cheesy
You're talking that's
action movie.
the second one, not
The
Pitch
second
Black.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people agree that Pitch Black is a better movie.
It's a horror
but
movie, probably though.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's a suspense horror. It's not an action movie. All right, Jeremy, how many words can you get in your final 2 picks?
I don't even know anymore what an action movie is. You've got me questioning life choices here. Sin City.
Not an action movie.
How the
Yes,
fuck is
that
it
is
not an action movie?
That is
Have you
absolutely
lost
a
your
fucking
fucking
action
mind?
movie.
It is definitely not.
What?
Okay.
No way.
I mean, I can be outvoted. That's fine. It's not an action movie.
Do you even know what the word action means? I'm trying to.
That's 100% an
understand.
action movie.
There is definitely more action in that than your first 2 picks.
And by the way,
But
Jeremy, badass choice. I can't believe I missed it. Good job.
Crank.
But just because a movie has action in it
Crank.
doesn't make it an
Move on.
action
You're
movie.
wrong. Thank you.
Okay. That's
Good night.
fine.
Man, I can't imagine. I can't think of another like vignette action movie, but it absolutely is. Great job.
So the last one is Crank.
That's an action movie.
Oh, cool. By your judging factor alone, I
Just
get
saying.
to get a +1.
Oh my god!
A movie
that's
can't
an action
be-
movie.
A
Oh my
movie
god!
can't be 7 different genres. That's my point.
It can be.
It can't be a
actually.
vignette and noir and suspense and thriller and intrigue and action. Like, it can have those elements, but the movie can't be all of it. Like, there's a point to the movie, in my opinion, and it needs to stick to the point. Like, Jurassic Park isn't an action movie, but there's action in it. There's stunts, there's effects, there's all kinds of cool stuff, but it's not an action movie.
Go ahead, Brandon. What's your last one? I want to know.
Let's see. There's so many good ones still. I'm surprised. We have Jeremy over here picking all kinds of stuff. Ugh.
Do your best to find an action movie because there is no way in hell
I'm
I'm
trying.
going to let you choose one.
I know, right?
Whatever you're getting ready to
So-
say, go ahead and just say.
I know
the
you're
other
going to
part,
immediately
not an action
veto.
movie.
Well, I'm going to go with the only safe pick then, Crank 2.
Not
You
an
can't
action
veto
movie.
Crank 2. You picked Crank.
No, that one's actually a love story.
It actually kind of is.
Not an action movie.
I've only seen Crank 2. I haven't seen Crank 1. It might be much better.
I love that. Instantly, not an action movie.
Not an action movie. Oh. So, if I want to win, I know what I pick. But I don't. It's not my favorite movie, unlike many people.
Well, good luck with it. I don't plan on letting you choose it, and Parker will probably follow me.
Mm-hmm.
In the spirit of action movies, I'm going to pick Rambo.
Jesus Christ, you haven't even seen it.
What are you
What?
talking about?
You probably haven't even watched it. You probably just picked one that was you think is an
I
action
actually
movie.
like Rambo. Rambo's the one where he's the old guy, and the girl that plays Dexter's wife in the TV show
Yeah.
gets kidnapped by Vietnamese people, I think it is, and he has to go rescue them. But most importantly, the scene when he gets on the back of the Jeep with the 50 cal and just starts vaporizing people is
Yeah.
fucking intense.
I actually did enjoy that movie. That was actually
No, right, because
it's a
that,
good
in my opinion, that's probably the closest thing to a true action movie that came out in that 10-year gap. Because the entire point of the movie is just brutal action in like a very depressing setting.
Not gonna lie, that meme where he's holding down that machine gun in the back of that truck is just
Dude,
priceless.
the way they filmed that whole scene, the way the entire Jeep is shaking when he's shooting it, you can feel the power of that gun in that scene. It's crazy. Like, hits a guy in the knee and his entire leg comes off. You're like, Jesus Christ. All right, Parker, you get your final pick.
I'm gonna go with a real pulpy one, and it's because I love the comic book, and the movie is nothing like the comic book, but I still like the movie. I'm gonna go with Wanted.
Cool. Talk about... I don't know if you know this, but Wanted and The Dark Knight came out on DVD on the same day. So I got yelled at by my roommate because I watched Wanted first. Because he bought both of them. He came home.
That's
like,
awesome.
Oh yeah, let's watch. He's like, you want to watch a movie? I got Dark Knight and Wanted. I was like, sweet, let's watch Wanted. He's like, what? He's like, why are we? Well, let's watch Dark Knight. He's like, I've seen that twice. And he's like, yeah, but it's Dark Knight. I was like, yeah, but I'm not an idiot. I want to see the movie I haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm also a sucker for James McAvoy. I just like him.
Young James McAvoy is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Honorable mentions. I really wanted to pick Punisher, but I just don't think it holds up to some of the other movies. I don't know how you guys didn't choose Transporter.
I don't really like Jason Statham. He wasn't on my list.
Okay. Wow. I thought for sure that one was going to be gone.
That was not my
That's
favorite.
kind of... Yeah. 300, I think, is a fun, good movie, but it's not... it's a good movie. And it's definitely not as good as the other epic on the list, which is Gladiator. But again, I think it's more of an epic than an action movie. So I kind of left it out. And that's why I was like, if I just pick this, I think I win the poll. Just because so many people love Gladiator. Then final honorable mention is definitely Shooter, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
It really is a great movie.
I had a bunch of honorable mentions that were like not like fantasy movies that I didn't want to count, like Reign of Fire. I love that movie, but it's an action fantasy. I decided not to. But the Kill Bill, I actually like Volume 2 more than Volume 1, but I love them both. I don't know how they didn't get there, but I wanted to do Wanted because it was crazy. Also, I'm going to put a shout out here for Blade Trinity. Not because it's a great movie, but because it introduces Ryan Reynolds' best character, who is Deadpool, who just kind of kept doing for years. It's basically, it's Blade featuring Deadpool, which I think is awesome.
It is great because it's Marvel, right? Like it's actually he's basically Deadpool. In the movie. Oh man! We just had a callback. I don't know if you've seen Deadpool.
I have not. Please don't. La 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 la.
There's just a callback to him being in the movie.
Okay, but I loved. Like every scene that he is in, he just crushes it. The tone of the movie is so terrible, but every scene he is in, man, when he's being interrogated by that vampire chick, and he's like, "Your hair is just ridiculous." Like everything about every scene he's in is perfect tone.
It's similar to the Casino Royale interrogation scene.
Not at all.
I mean, the tone's a little different.
Yeah, tone's a little different.
Just slightly different.
So, one thing I want to note about all of these movies. I've seen them. I've watched most of those action movies. I've seen a lot of action movies. I am zero...
I'm not sure you have.
I'm zero passionate about any of them. Like, some of the 80s movies, I will watch that right now. Like, all
Die
of
Hard
these,
all
to
that,
me, are like, I don't know, like, just...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of saying those, like these 2000s action movies, while they have great action in them, and a lot of them are good, they're not the same, right? They don't have a soul to them that the 80s movies had.
Pretty hollow.
And that's why I think John Wick was such a phenomenon, is because it was the first time they really nailed that like stoic action star with a character that could support it.
Go ahead.
They just gave you enough information to make you want to know more, which is why people were so excited.
I love the super pulpy action style of like Kill Bill. I should have done that instead of Wanted, but I decided not to. But I love, like, I will watch Kill Bill over and over and over again, Volume 1 and 2, because I love, and the action scenes are fun, but I love some of the goofy scenes, like in the sake house, and when Bill's talking to his brother in front of the trailer park, like that is, or trailer, like those are wonderful, wonderful scenes that have nothing to do with the action of the film, but I just love them. So I think there is redeemable stuff that came out of the 2000s, but it feels few and far between. So probably is. My favorite part of the 2000s action movies is that it created Hot Fuzz, which is like the homage to that terribleness. Like, I love that. You haven't seen Bad Boys 2?
That was the one. I don't like Bad Boys 2 that much, but I can't believe nobody picked it. Bad Boys 2 is the pick of the decade, probably.
Yeah, it is. I had it in my list of possibilities, but I didn't even I didn't even want to give it an honorable mention because it's ostensibly just terrible. But it is exactly what like 2000 action. It's the pinnacle of that mountain, I think.
But like people who lived through that time period and like were like young adults in that period, how can you explain the early 2000s without mentioning Charlie's Angels, Mission Impossible 2, and like all the Bad Boys 2? Like that was half the decade was those three movies. Basically, they were just fucking everywhere that entire time. I think Mission Impossible 2 was the equivalent of Endgame for the decade. And it was such a bad movie.
I don't even remember which that one was about.
That was the one where they joust each other with flying kicks on motorcycles at the end. Instantly, you know which movie I'm talking about.
Oh my god. Joust each other with flying kicks.
It's such a stupid movie. And like, it's the one that takes place in the desert, basically. And they've actually, I believe they've retconned that movie just doesn't exist in the franchise. I do want to sit down and watch all of the Mission Impossible movies. I only watched them, like, the first one, I only watched bits and pieces of. And then the other ones I think I watched out of order. And so I have no idea what's going on plot-wise beyond the, like, heist style of the movie. And so I just need to go back and watch it as a one continuous sit-through. And so I can kind of understand the story better and who the characters are. Are you excited for the game, Jeremy?
Yeah, I am just excited to watch how good the team is. Like, I've told people at work, I think we have a fucking cheat code. Like, it just feels that way. After watching all of the NFL through the course of Thursday through Sunday, watching many games, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, they're just a
shout out
mess.
Listener of the show, Colin from Muse. I hope your quarterback's better than he looked. I think he is. It was just a fucking crazy game to watch.
He enjoyed the Bears.
It's like, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who they were playing against. But the guy basically just said, if we had just punted the ball every fucking first down in the second half, we would have won the game. Like, it's just so bad. Oh, man. I can't believe nobody took Xavier Worthy before us in the draft. Did you watch the movie Draft Day?
Yeah.
With Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time, like, Connor is always hitting me with, like, mock drafts and, like, who he thinks we should pick and everything. Yeah. He's always talking about that stuff. I'm like, nope, I know exactly who we're picking because I understand Brett Veach's mind. And I 100% we're taking Xavier Worthy with the number 32 pick. Like, it's happening. It's just written in stone. And so to me, it was like Xavier Worthy no matter what, the entire draft. And I'm just sitting there with him listening. He's like, oh, I hope we trade up for this guy. Oh, I hope we trade up for this guy. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And then he's like, Chiefs trade up. I'm like, uh-oh. And then it's like, who's still on the board? And he lists like 5 people still on the board. I'm like, is Xavier Worthy still available? He's like, yeah. I was like, 100% lock it in. Like, and then the first game he plays, like, he looks really good.
That one, I don't even know what you call the play that is like a trick toss. That play was...
The one he did the running play on?
Yeah.
That's a reverse.
Yeah, that reverse was so much fun to watch because I watched that live actually in the shop. I was in the shop when that happened. And when he did it, I was like, okay, so he's like, that's going to be like a 15-yard gain, like nice play. Yeah. And then he just disappears through that hole. And I'm like, wow.
McCole Hardman has done that exact thing before too. McCole Hardman can run really fucking fast. He's almost as fast as Xavier Worthy. Mm-hmm. The problem McCole Hardman has is he can't turn nearly as fast.
Yeah.
And so on the big swooping runs, he's amazing on those because he can get to full speed before he turns upfield. But if he has to cut, he just loses all of his momentum. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Worthy does not have that problem. He was just turning and burning. That was awesome.
Well, like I said, there's been plays where McCole Hardman has looked that fast. There's obviously Tyreek Hill is maybe the ultimate combination of speed, quickness, and agility of players we've seen in the last 50 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Xavier Worthy having a step on everybody and then also being a good route runner, it looks scary. We'll see. But obviously there's a lot of stuff to his job that he hasn't really perfected yet.
Also, the thing, I love seeing...
that play to me was so impressive because if you actually watch the X's and O's of that play, every single lineman wins, basically. Which is exceptional, right? It's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
But they all win in like the perfect way because they all sell the fake. And then you look at the field, like, of course he scores because you look at the play. We have 9 downfield blockers at the point he hits the line of scrimmage. You're like, there's no way you're going to stop him. It's like, it's basically a group of 10 people running in formation. Like, it's like a Mighty Ducks play. Like, it makes no sense.
But he did have to beat like 2 or 3 defenders to get into that.
He did, right?
Formation.
Like he didn't actually run into the package where they were blocking everyone.
Right.
He ran around them, and there was defenders to the outside of that. Like he easily could have gotten caught. He just outran everybody.
Right. Yeah, I was.
But yeah,
I was very impressed by that play. I also like seeing Rice consistently, like just being that super consistent. I wanted that again because I love. One of my favorite things about any athlete is not when they like have these big blow up plays, but when they're just really consistent, just like they catch the ball. Yeah, they don't like hurdle and flip over 3, tackles or anything, but nope, they just catch the ball. That's what they do. I like that he's doing that.
Yeah, I think this is the best collection of talent we've had on the team offensively. Because even in the 2018 year when Pat had crazy numbers, we had Hill and Kelsey, and obviously Kelsey's still here, he's older now. But I feel like all of our positions, because outside of those 2 people, we also had Kareem Hunt, who ended up getting cut because he's a dickhead. But outside of those 3 people, the rest of the offense was like bargain barrel people. And this year, it feels like every position we have that is a starter is like a plus. And because we've got Isaiah Pacheco is not amazing, but he's very solid. And he's got a lot of the tools we need. And the combination of him cutting weight to get faster this year and us picking up Carson Steele, like the big-bodied fullback that is also a running back, and then also Pyrene. Like, we have a solid running back group now, as opposed to being a huge deficit at it like we were previously. And then we've also got, Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy and Rashid Rice. And then Justin Watson's okay as like a 4th wide receiver. The problem is when he's your number 2 wide receiver like he was last year, it sucks.
Yeah.
And then obviously Noah Gray's gotten a lot better and Kelsey's still playing very well. So I'm very excited. The big difference though is in 2018 we had like the 32nd best defense. Now we've got like the 5th. And so like that's going to be a problem for a lot of people. I'm very excited. Are you aware of what's going on with the Bengals, guys?
No.
Chase is a holdout, and
it's not officially a holdout.
yeah.
Wait, what?
So they did not pay either of their star wide receivers this year, even though they're like on schedule to get paid. Like their contracts are running out. So instead of paying them, they just didn't. And so the guy who's only under contract for this year basically said, trade me or I won't play for you. And they said, no, we want you on the team for this year only, and then you can leave. And he's like, well, I don't want to play here if you're not going to pay me. Like, I'm not going to go risk my body if you're not going to give me money. And they basically just ignored him. And so the problem has gotten to the point where he shows up, and then he's like, oh, sorry, I pulled my hamstring. I can't play. And so he's indefinite with a hamstring, basically, right now, because he hasn't been paid. And so Jamar Chase, their star wide receiver, who's got 2 years left this year and next year, and I think he actually might be under for another year after that. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the contract. But he's going to probably reset the wide receiver market. He's going to be the highest paid receiver at some point. Maybe not by the Bengals, but by somebody. And so conveniently, he looked like trash last week. And then this week, he is questionable with food poisoning as of Wednesday. So his food poisoning might last from Wednesday to Sunday. And I don't know if you've had food poisoning before. That seems unlikely.
Yeah,
but it's just another thing. You can't test somebody for food poisoning. So you can't say he's lying.
So they just don't have the money to pay him, basically?
Their team is falling apart because they have nobody wants to play for the team. But we'll see. Maybe the ownership will pull their head out of their ass and give the people the money they deserve.
Or, I don't know if deserve, but promised, right? Like, that's...
Well, I mean, they were promised that. Like, the expectation is that they have performed exceptionally well. Mm-hmm. If they were on the open market right now, they would each probably make $25 to $35 million a year. But they're currently getting paid, like, rookie salaries, which is, like, maybe $2 or $3 million.
Oh, now I understand.
No, they're dramatically underpaid. And historically speaking, usually if you're a good player, you get paid a year or two before your contract runs out. And The problem with not paying them is that they'll just leave and you'll get nothing in compensation for them. If you sign them early and decide you can't afford them, you can trade them to another team and get draft picks back. And so, like, you're not actually penalized for paying them. The problem is the owner of the Bengals is just a cheapskate and doesn't want to pay them. Also, there's a rumor floating that Joe Burrow might be very much still injured from last year when he, like, tore a tendon in his wrist. But it's like the first time a quarterback's ever done this exact injury, torn this exact ligament, and so there's no evidence on how well they recover from it, and it might be more devastating than they had initially thought. Anyway.
They looked as bad as a team can look this
They
week.
looked really bad. They lost to what people thought was the worst team in the league as 9-point favorites, and they just straight up lost.
That was wild.
They lost, like, was it 8-12 or some shit? Like, it's really embarrassing.
Oh, more than that.
score.
It was real bad. But,
let's see.
I mean, they just looked terrible.
Where are you? Bad teams. Here we go. 16-10. They lost 16-10. So they failed to cover the spread by 15 points.
Yeah. And they didn't even show signs of life. Like, they did nothing interesting.
They didn't score until, I think, midway through the third quarter. Like, the Patriots defense completely shut them down.
They made the Patriots look amazing, though.
They did make what is supposed to be one of the bottom 3 teams in the league look like a solid NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, though, did you guys watch the Seattle-Denver game?
I did not.
It was a comedy of errors. It was hilarious to watch. I was cackling at watching the fucking game. And I was calling out what was going to happen. Alex was watching it with me. I was like, all right, so check this out. Because the Denver Broncos are driving. They get to like the 40-ish yard line. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to... What was it? I think they threw a pick on like the 3-yard line or something. They fumbled. They got a turnover. Seattle gets the ball inside their own 5, which stops them from scoring a touchdown, right? It's like, oh, we prevented points. We got the ball back. This is great. And I go, no, because now they're just going to give up a safety, give up 2 points, have to punt the ball back to them, and then they're going to score a touchdown. So actually give up 9 points on what would have been a 7-point possession. Immediately, the first play, they get a safety. So it's like, and he's like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. So he kicked the ball back to them. Denver goes 3 and out, punts the ball back. They get the ball at the 1. Safety again.
Oh my God.
It's just like, you fucking morons.
It's a game
so
with
it back
2
and
safeties.
Forth. It was with back-to-back safeties on back-to-back possessions.
I have
It
never
was
heard of
hilarious.
That. That's amazing.
It's happened before. I think there's been 2 safeties in games before. But the hilarious part is you look at Denver's score and it's like, oh, it's like 14-10. And you're like, that's a fairly normal NFL score. Yeah, but it's 2 safeties, a field goal, and a touchdown. Like, what the fuck? It was so funny. And then Denver ends up losing the game in which they got 2 safeties.
Oh, man.
God, it's such a fucking embarrassment. Oh, anyway, that's been your NFL corner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm very excited about football season.
Yeah, I spent the entire weekend just watching football, like I said. I was just watching all the games.
I didn't pay very much attention to the games outside of ours. I just kind of had them on in the background while I was doing other stuff.
Did you watch Old Man Rogers?
I watched probably about an hour of the game because I was working, and so I had it on when I was doing stuff.
That was a boring game.
Yeah, they did not. It was pretty irrelevant. It was like everyone knew the Jets weren't going to win the game, and they didn't. So I don't know who thinks the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Those people are insane.
Yeah, that's...
All right, Parker, I have a question for you. Do you know who Aaron Rodgers is?
Yes.
Yeah. What team does he play for?
I don't know.
The New York Jets.
Okay.
He left the Packers for a long-time Packers starter. Went to the Jets 2 years ago. Got hurt in the 4th play of the season because they were the season opener last year. So he got hurt in the 4th game of the season, or 4th play of the game. Tore his Achilles, out for the year automatically. It's like a 12, 14-month recovery. Comes back and starts in this game. The last 2 years Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay, he was not good.
Mm-hmm.
He was very mediocre because I think he was hurt the year before he left there as well. So he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in a game in a while. How many days do you think it's been?
Since
300 yards is basically like this was a very good game.
Yeah. I know a 300-yard game, but how many years has it been since he's thrown one?
Yeah, how many days do you think it's been?
Oh, days. Knowing that he couldn't play last year at all.
Didn't play last year at all. But he did play his best season of the last 3 years was the year before the Jets, so it would have been the year before last.
I'm going to say 500 days.
It's 1,005.
Wow.
It's been almost 4 years since... It's been 4 seasons since he's basically had a good game. Tom Brady was retired for 2 years after... Or had played for 2 years after he had a 300-yard game. And the Lions have been a good team since in that time period as well. It's just funny. So I don't see how people are like, yeah, he's like 41 now as opposed to 36, and so he's going to be great. You're like, coming off of an Achilles tear. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, who told you that he was going to be a good player?
Yeah, that's a mess.
Doesn't he have some of the longest in-game throws in that?
He was an amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
He was like, I mean, I hate this comparison, but he was basically the Pat before Pat, in my opinion. Like, he was fairly mobile. He could throw the ball anywhere on the field. He was super accurate. His claim to fame historically has been that he doesn't throw interceptions. He was on pace to retire with the highest passer rating in history for his entire career. He had like a 105 passer rating as his career, which is insane, right?
Yeah.
North of 100 is crazy.
Yeah.
And like, even during that time, he didn't have a huge supporting cast around him the entire time he was playing. Unlike some, like Drew Brees, their entire point of Drew Brees was to give him an amazing offense. And so, like, his stats are somewhat inflated due to that, because he had every tool they could get him the entire time he was playing. Because that was their strategy. Kind of like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning never really played with no talent. He always had talent on his offense.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a great quarterback, but he was like the opposite of Aaron Rodgers. Like, Peyton Manning was almost exclusively mental, and he was actually a terrible athlete. Like, the fact that he played football professionally is insane.
Yeah.
That means he was just that smart. That's where Aaron Rodgers is like just physically gifted everywhere, kind of like Pat is. It's like he's able to make throws and make runs and escape pressure like nobody else. Are you guys ready to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Here we go.